going on, everybody? This is Thrifty with Thrifty's Gaming News Podcast. A little later on, if I can remember, I'm going to announce something kind of cool. I'm changing the name of the channel, or not of the channel, of the podcast because I want it to be something better, something different. Uh, we do have Final Fantasy XVI as our background tonight. I will not be playing any, so for anybody who watches this after, you kind of know how I do this. I take a little bit of time, I share this out. I do everything from my PlayStation, so I don't have the ability to do a timer yet because for some reason Sony has not given that to me yet. Uh, but give me just a moment and we will get started. Dang, we already got one in the chat. Heck yes. Guys, tonight's guest is Geo Knows Best on Twitter. He's not on Twitter, he's here, but that is his Twitter. If that yeah, everybody knows what I meant. Guys, I'm sorry. It's been a day. I put in almost 70 hours last week. I was so happy to have yesterday and the day before off because that was rough. Give me just a few more minutes and we will get started. Do, 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 do. Nope, I'll probably get copywritten for that. I can't do that. People copyright for everything. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna promote it in his. That would be kind of jacked up since he's doing a show right now. Let's not do that. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so guys, here we go. We have Geo Knows Best. We got some folks in the chat. Will 77 or 77. Dear Jesus Christ. Whew. Will 777. You called us gentlemen. That's sweet of you. Okay. All right. Geo, are you there?
I am here.
Are you okay?
Try not to laugh into the mic.
Okay. So you're still very low. Let me see if I can't fix that. Guys, bear with us just a second. We are not professionals. At least I'm not. He might be. I am ne'er a professional. Include audio. Include audio. Yeah, there will be no spoilers tonight, RP. I will shut this thing down super quick, or I'll just ban people. I don't care. I got like maximum of 25 people that come and watch me. So like banning one of them is not gonna hurt my feelings in the least. Uh, I didn't get upset with you. Oh, actually, yes, I did. A few days ago, I got super upset. So hang on, guys. I'm trying to fix an audio issue that we're having because when Satan fell from heaven, he went into the audio system. That's where he resides now. Okay. Nope, that just mutes him. That's not what I want to do. Audio balance, that's fine. Hey, Geo, why don't you like say some stuff?
Oh boy, I'm taking over. Okay.
Yeah, you're taking over just for a second because I'm trying to figure out why the heck we can't hear you.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone knows me on Twitter, Geo knows best. I tend to get under the skin of a lot of Xbox fanboys and some Sony fanboys too. Uh, it's nothing personal. I just don't like fanboys. I'm sorry. I'm really not sorry, but I'm not happy.
Okay. You are low on your side. See if you can't try to like change some settings. I know you're using the phone app. See if there's a way to go into the settings on there and kind of change how that's coming through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
or it might be in your phone settings, like turn up mic audio. I don't know. I can do that on the iPhone. I don't know if you use an iPhone or Android, but you should use an iPhone. Anyways, so no, there will be no spoilers tonight. Tonight we do have several topics to talk about. We have a ton of stuff to go on. Um, we were supposed to have Toolman 77, but he had a family thing that he had to do. And so, much love to him. He was actually my 100th subscriber, and then because his YouTube account glitched out, he was also my 200th subscriber. So, he's he's pretty cool. Uh, I like him. He just was.
Yeah,
Dude, we got Guap in here. Wait,
Blobzilla.
I don't. Wait, somebody said Guap. I didn't see him in here. Anyways, that'd be cool. Speaking of that, so one of the topics that we have for tonight, I actually came across one of the most degenerate locations you can find any type of commentary on anything, Twitter Spaces. And in that space, was there was a ton of talk about exclusives, right? And just exclusives being bad, exclusives being like terrible, and of course there's one camp saying this, uh, but here's the thing: exclusives are not necessarily bad. Exclusives are bad if the exclusive. I'm still drunk from last night. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't even drink last night. But like exclusives are only bad if the exclusives you put out suck. Like, let that sink in. If the exclusives that you're getting suck, then you're going to say exclusives went bad. If your exclusives are amazing, then guess what? You're going to have an amazing view of exclusives, right? Like this is how this crap works. This is how this works. And so PlayStation is sitting over here going, man, exclusives are freaking great. I don't know what you're talking about. Um, then you have Nintendo, whose exclusives are fantastic. And then you have Xbox. Or actually, stop. Let's go to PC first. Then you have PC. Their PC only content, I don't play it. I can't speak on it, but they have a ton of folks playing it. And so it has to be good or at least engaging, right? And so then you get over to the Xbox side, who has had Hi Fi Rush, Halo, Forza, Pentiment. I think Pentiment already came out, or was that Avowed? No, that was Pentiment. And I'm blanking on the rest of it. So, like, you have all. If did I mention Forza? If I didn't mention Forza, I meant to mention Forza. You have all of these uh, things that have come out, and half of them have been just dog water with Trails. You're back, dude. I thought you like died or something, man. I'm so glad to see you. I'm glad to see everybody here, but like Trails was one of the road dogs from the beginning, and like he's been gone for the last little bit. So I was like, dude, cool seeing him. Anyways, when you have good exclusives, exclusives are good. When you have bad exclusives, exclusives are bad. When you get mostly bad exclusives, exclusives are bad. When you get games that don't operate, don't function, don't play well, or don't have staying power, then you feel some sort of way against exclusives. And so we're sitting over here, and they were talking about how uh, Jim Ryan had said he was only going to do 2 exclusives per year. That's actually not what he said. What he said was, we're going to do two, big single player exclusives. Retro, add me on PlayStation and get your butt in here. We'll settle. We'll beat that out of you. We'll all take turns. Now he said that they will do two massive single player triple A exclusives a year. And people are pointing, well, what about their games as a service? Those are exclusive. No, they're not. They're getting released on PC day and date. Those my tag is Thrifty PS underscore GR. That's it. I almost said like at Gmail, but that's Gio, are you here?
I'm still here.
Okay. It's okay to laugh on mic, by the way. It's unless you have like a weird laugh that you're like ashamed of, like that, then don't. But like, if you
No, I don't know what you're laugh.
did you find anything that you could adjust?
Oh, the only thing I could adjust was the speaker level, but apparently that's not working. So I have to just stuck with it.
Okay, they can barely hear you. That's why I'm saying that. My
I mean,
wife.
I could try switching headsets.
Oh, what did you just do?
I moved the mic closer to my mouth.
Hey, try that. See,
All right, I'll try
see
that.
see if that works. The chat will tell us. We have some lively people in chat tonight. By the way, guys, hit that like button, share this out, do all the things that YouTube absolutely loves because I am trying to get to 500 subs. Once I get to 500 subs, y'all can start gifting me shit. So that's what
We'll get to 500.
I know
No
we will.
problem.
Oh, eat the mic. Yes. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like, what's one of the other shit, I can't say that word tonight. What is one of the other exclusives? I shouldn't have put this as a topic tonight. I can't say that word for some reason. They had Wulong Fallen Dynasty, which people played for like 30 seconds and said, "Oh, cool, it was a fun game, bye." Awesome. That's great. Those games are needed. But what about your mainstay exclusives?
They also had their game of the year, Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah. Hey, listen. So for those who didn't hear, he just said that they had their game of the year for Hi-Fi Rush. Also, RP, since you're doing good at monitoring this, I expect you to let me know if he is still low after he ate the mic. That's what I need to know. Uh,
Literally on the side of the mouth.
if this doesn't work, if you have another headset, switch to another headset. Uh,
Yeah, I have another.
yeah, try that real quick. I can carry this part of the conversation. I love exclusives. Uh, so he'll be right back. Toolman, what's up, dude? I just talked about you in the intro. Okay, so they had Hi-Fi Rush. Fan freaking tastic. I'm not gonna lie, that game looks really fun. Made me want to go play Jet Set Radio. I'm not even kidding. Like that's what it felt like. That's what it feels like, and so that's what I was gonna do. Um, hey RP, he's fine. He's switching mics now. I appreciate it. There's a huge delay between what I'm getting to read right now and when this is actually coming through to y'all. Uh, so the problem is that over at PlayStation we have way too many exclude things. Like I am so I'm so sorry. Woo! Hey, the day took me over. Woo! Lord Jesus. All right, here we go. The thing that Jim Ryan said was that he wasn't going to do more than two AAA exclusives that were third party, or I'm sorry, that were first party single player titles. Okay? After that, he then said, or then on the thing that was going on today, the Twitter space, which don't ever go to those, they're so terrible. The Twitter space, they were like, well, what about games as a service? What about all of their multiplayers? Well, all the multiplayers are going to PC day and date, so it's still just two single player AAA exclusives. Plus, you dumbass, AAA exclusive, or I'm sorry, single player AAA exclusive doesn't mean AAA multiplayer exclusive. Like, there's two separate genres. One's multiplayer, one's single player. And so I just, when he gets back, I'll get his thoughts on that. Unless he's back now. You back?
I'm back.
Holy crap! I think the Lord can hear you now. Woo! All right. It just sounds like you're in a bathroom, but that's way better than what it was. They'll let
It's
us
my
know.
Bluetooth headset. So.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, you said Bluetooth headset, so you don't have an Apple product. You have Android.
No, I'm a grown man, so I don't play with toys like that.
Oh, so you have Apple, or else you have Android. Just, I'm right, aren't I?
I do not touch Apple ever.
Exactly, exactly. Because if you would have had Apple, you would have said I had AirPods. Just saying. Oh, they still said you're
I do
low.
not have little earrings sticking out of my ear.
All right. Well, I can hear you
So,
super loud and clear, but RP said he's low. Hey, RP, is he good enough to still be able to be heard? Would you guys buy the Switch 2? Yes, Trails, I would buy the Switch 2. Um,
I just switched to.
I would in a heartbeat. Okay, so what are your thoughts on exclusives? Let's just keep going. If it's too bad, I'll go ahead and just kick you out or something. I don't know. But like, um, I don't know why the mics keep doing this. 2 weeks ago it was Thrash. He's low, but we still hear him. Hey, listen, I'll take it. Oh, barely.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, listen.
I'll scream if I have to.
Hang on. Let me change the volume that I have you at in my ears. Because, like I said, I can hear you perfectly. Okay. So here's the deal. What do you think? Are exclusives a bad thing? Are they getting out of hand? Is it something that needs to be tempered by being tampered with? What's your thoughts?
No, exclusives are not bad. I mean, our entire economy is based on exclusives. Come on now. Anyone ever think of bullet clubs? High school secondary things? You deliver a product that people want that's different than other people's products, hence exclusives. Doesn't matter what it is. Hamburgers, video games, books, movies, everything is tailored for different tastes, therefore they are exclusive. And it works. The only time it doesn't work is when nameless company A decides to buy up all the publishers and makers of said exclusives to keep it away from everyone else who wants to publish said exclusives. That's what needs to be tempered is the consolidation. Just my opinion, though, folks. I do not speak for Thrifty. I have to say that because then other people will be like, well, this Sony guy said this. I'm not a Sony guy either, by the way. Stupid. Well, I guess this is now my show since I don't hear Thrifty at all.
Um, hey, can y'all hear me? Can anybody hear me? Check, check.
I can hear you now. I
Check,
couldn't hear
check.
you before.
Okay. Shoot. All right, so let me play devil's advocate. Here's the devil's advocate. All right.
Go for it.
So you brought up a point that exclusives kind of make the world go round when it comes to business, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then you mentioned buying publishers versus buying studios, right? PlayStation buys studios, and Microsoft is buying publishers. Cool. Got it. We view buying publishers just to keep games off of another platform. And I would agree, but I'm going to play devil's advocate. What's the difference in buying a whole ass publisher that has 5 studios or 6 studios and buying 6 or 7 dev teams in the past 4 years? Or buying 6 or 7 studios in the past 4 years and bringing them under your umbrella? Like, what? Help me understand what the difference is in that.
Well, the difference is several variables.
Hey,
One
you
is
better swallow that microphone.
what is the output for the smaller studios or publishers that are being bought, as opposed to the big ZeniMax slash Activision
No,
companies.
no, 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 because you could look at that, and I'm once again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I don't think it's right to take your ball from the court just because the other teams don't want to play with you. Like, just get better. Like, so, yeah.
I understand.
So, but I also see the point of, hey, all these studios that we purchased, and yes, PlayStation's output is much better. So we can't really use output as a thing because the studios that PlayStation bought and has purchased have a high as heck output. The PlayStation or the studios that Xbox has purchased don't have a high output. As a matter of fact, the publisher has been purchased and their first game out the box was dog shit. It was terrible. And so I don't understand why you would buy publishers just to then tank the studios. But back on what we were talking about originally, it's the same thing on 2 different sides of the coin. The problem comes in is when you don't just stop at a ZeniMax and then you go after the largest player in the game, right? You're not going after CD Projekt Red. You're not going after Square Enix or Bandai or Capcom. You're not going
They
after.
tried to go after Square Enix.
I know they did try to go after Square Enix, and Square Enix told them no, which makes my position on they buy, uh, should they buy Square Enix is a little different now, because I was all for it and I desperately, desperately wanted it, but we don't need that. Uh, because they've already told them to screw off. They've already said, no. Along with like 5 or 6 other.
Yeah, Sega said no.
Yeah. Sega even said, no. Yeah, but Sega doesn't know what they want to do. They'll come out tomorrow and say that they're the best friends in the world and that they, like, want to be purchased now. And I don't know. Sega doesn't know what they're doing. They never have. That's why PlayStation kicked their ass in the 90s. We're going to get there. Trails, we will get there. That's actually coming up. I chose this topic because with the topic of exclusives, I can actually go anywhere else in my show tonight. And so, oh, sorry, hit the mic, guys. Um, with that,
Let's hit the trees, and then we'll hit the branches.
giggity, he said planting a tree. Get down to the base of the trunk, huh? Yeah, pause. Okay, so I am about to bring another person in here. Give me just a second because I am going to add and see if he joins because that would be fun. And then I'll see if it's my PlayStation or if it's y'all. Okay, retro. If you got the cojones and the time, come on in. Um, so the the exclusive thing, I get that buying studios is not the way to do that, right? I am not a Yankees fan at all because of the way their organization operates. I could care less about the wins and losses because at the end of the day, all you did was buy your way to victory. You didn't work for anything. You just signed the best players to the biggest amount of money, and the other teams couldn't compete because every year your rich owner would pay that stupid penalty, and it didn't matter. And it's exactly what Microsoft is doing right now. They are saying, hey, we can't beat you. Retro, you rock my face off. Go to your audio settings in the main settings tab and go down to voice chat settings and make sure that your voice can be shared via live stream. Because if not, nobody will be able to hear you.
I'm
Um,
pretty sure it's set. I'm pretty sure it's set.
oh, that's awesome. Are you British?
Yeah.
No, you're not.
I am indeed. Well, I'm actually Northern Irish, if we're going to get really technical.
Isn't it like 3 o'clock in the morning for y'all?
Yeah, yeah, but I'm a night shift worker, bro. I'm used to being up at night. I'm like a ghost in my own house, man. It's ridiculous.
That's so awesome.
You never heard Retro's voice before?
No, and okay, hey, Geo, they said it's your mic because they can hear retro.
Yes, it is.
Oh shit, but I can hear Geo fine now, like completely.
Right.
That's mad.
All right, retro. What's your take on exclusives? What's your thought on them and on the stuff we were talking
I
about the studios?
Well, I believe they're very important. I believe exclusives are basically what push you towards a platform, and half the time, most times, an exclusive will be the game that everybody talks about being their favorite game. Or usually it's an exclusive. You know, if you say my favorite PlayStation game, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an exclusive. Um, and I think we need exclusives to push the industry forward because if we haven't got those first party teams pushing, then the third party teams don't try as hard. Um, because they've got something to match. You know what I mean? They've got a target to hit. Um, so I believe they're important for pushing console sales, pushing game sales, getting people into your ecosystem and keeping them there. Um, what point was it about publishers and stuff you brought up?
So basically, the publishers getting. So we were talking about the difference between exclusives, right? And Geo brought up that one one company is trying to buy publishers while the other one buys smaller individual studios. And I
Okay.
played devil's advocate and basically said that both of the what's the difference between one company buying 7 studios in 3 years versus another company buying one publisher that has 7 studios within it in that same amount of time. Like, does that make sense? Like, they're both doing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same
no,
thing. One just did it in a
I
fail
get.
swoop.
All right, so there's multiple ways to look at it. If we just look at it at face value, one is going in early on and building a repertoire and a relationship with that smaller dev. And generally, whatever they're building has been built together. But then when you start getting into the publisher and buying publishers, sometimes you're going to be buying established IP that others might have been used to playing and now can't.
I
So
mean,
yeah, it's difficult because essentially it's exactly the same thing. You're buying IP, you're buying new things. Um, I get that, but I also get people's view on it being two different things. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm kind of in the middle myself. Um, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. I would prefer they didn't buy up all known IPs in the universe to run their Game Pass, but that's the way Microsoft sees being successful. And if they've got the money for it, are they really wrong for trying?
I mean, and that's my thought. No, they're not wrong for trying, but I think when you go, I think when you go and say, hey, we're going to buy ZeniMax, which, by the way, if you dive into that, Microsoft now owns part of Disney.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Like, I want you to holy absolute shit, Batman. They own part of Disney. They're actually a main shareholder in Disney. So Microsoft is now making money off of Marvel, which means they're making money off of Spider-Man. Well, no, sorry, the MCU is yes, no, they're still because they bought all of Marvel. No, they're still making money off of Spider-Man through licensing deals, even though Sony owns the video game and Marvel license. They still, uh, with Marvel as a whole, Marvel gets a kickback for using their name, and
Oh,
so
they also get money for the any of the what you call it, toys and merchandise.
right, all the
Any of the
toys and
merchandise.
merchandise, and so like you have all of this that Microsoft is still getting money for, and now so dear goodness, they own a portion of the largest media conglomerate already. Then they want to purchase the absolute largest in mobile and the absolute largest um, in regular console gaming and PC gaming with Call of Duty. Which, let's be honest, they're not buying this shit for WoW or for Diablo. They're buying it for Call of Duty and Candy Crush. Like that's
Oh
what.
yeah, without a doubt, without a doubt.
And so my problem is the gap, right? Where there's a huge gap between 7 billion and 70 billion.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's where my problem comes in because that's not even like the Yankees just paying for the best players, right? If Xbox said no, 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 we don't want y'all to get Bethesda or to have these timed exclusives anymore because we know how big Starfield could be for us. Hell no. We're going to go out and buy the damn studio. Good job. Good job. But then to sit there and say, hey, we got away with that. Now we're going to go
See,
ahead and buy the league. Excuse me? Like, you can't. Like, or we're
the
going to
one
go
thing,
buy the other teams in our division. Like, it
the
doesn't make
one
any
thing I will say,
sense.
Xbox isn't what's allowing Xbox to get these purchases done because there's not enough revenue coming into Xbox to support any of this. Not the cloud, not Game Pass. You know what I mean? So Xbox fans are very lucky that it's Microsoft that has Xbox and not Sega or Sony or some other company because Xbox would be gone by now. It just would, you know? So they're very fortunate that they've got Microsoft's back pockets.
So think about it this way. Xbox, to your point, Xbox made $16 billion last year. That's impressive for one. Uh, I couldn't believe that. That's just such a large number to me that it's hard for me to fathom that. But they are looking to purchase something, what, 4.5 times their yearly valuation? Like, hear me when the Xbox is looking to purchase something 4.5 times their yearly valuation. That is the dumbest thing I have ever heard in my life. But you're right, they get away with it. Why do they get away with it? Why? They get away with it because Daddy Microsoft is behind them and he wants to own literally everything. Like, he already owns, you might not know this because you're over there, but he owns like 60% of our farmland over here. Bill Gates does.
Bro, all of our defensive contracts for the military are ran through Microsoft.
Oh, shit, that's right. Okay, so you're UK then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if you were EU because isn't Ireland part of the EU?
Ireland is, but Northern Ireland is part of the UK.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
See, I know a little bit.
Yeah, surprised me, man. You surprised me.
And so, you're one of my other friends. So anybody who's in the UK right now and is a gamer, they're my friend because I love them. Um, so that was my only thought. Like, I don't care that they bought Bethesda, and here's why. I don't like Bethesda games. I can't stand Bethesda games. This is when two people in the chat who've been gushing over how much they love Bethesda leave. I only liked Fallout New Vegas, and then I found out that that wasn't even Bethesda, that was Obsidian. So, like, I really don't like Bethesda.
See, I won't lie. I do like Skyrim and Fallout. In fact, I'll be honest. Bethesda being bought out for me was a big disappointment in Activision.
Really?
Yep.
See, the only thing and with Diablo 4 and how shitty it's come out and been, I know,
Oh, bro, I'm so disappointed.
I know.
I spent
I,
70 hours on that game already, you know.
and dude, its player base is dropping faster than Halo's, and that's a big thing.
Yeah, it really is. I don't think people like the seasons being tied into the Battle Pass.
They shouldn't be. That's where they screwed up. Let me.
Yep.
And here's the other thing. Here's the biggest thing that bothers me is that with Diablo, okay, with Diablo, when the new story content comes out, that's tied to the battle pass and the seasons. You have to wait a month until after it's out, and then you can use your legacy character to go through the new story. Why in
Yeah,
the
I
heck?
don't like that.
I don't. I'm so glad I didn't buy it. I'm so glad every single one of y'all, you, social, freaking, oh crud, who else was it? There was you, social, Viper, uh,
D-Wolf.
yeah,
D-Wolf.
yes, D. So many folks had me almost purchasing it, and
Bro,
I am
it
so
was
glad I didn't.
awesome. It was awesome right up until Endgame, and then I realized that I'm gonna have to basically give up this character to use any of the seasons, which I'm told is a normal thing for Diablo.
It's normal
But
since number 3. It is not normal. Don't let folks lie to you. They did it in number 3, and now they say it's
right,
normal.
okay, okay, that's fair. Like, I don't know because I wasn't a huge fan. I just wanted to jump in with my mates and destroy stuff. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair.
So it done its job for 70 odd hours. But once I found out about the characters resetting and stuff, I was like, I really don't want to do all this again and again and again.
And again, and again, and again.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just no, man.
and that's the thing that kills me. Like, and even with Diablo 3, because I've played all of Diablo 3, I've played both expansions, which were fantastic. The expansions were actually better than the main story. But I was able to take my legacy character because I didn't want to do ladders and I didn't want to do season all that shit. I just wanted to take my character and feel like a badass and go beat the Death King or whatever it was. And so the Reaper of Souls. There we go.
Yeah.
And like that's what I was able to do. In this one, you have to wait. Are you're making me wait to play a story mode that I will gladly pay you for, but you're making me wait.
Yeah,
That's
RP's the same. He got to endgame and dropped it.
yeah. I just saw that. RP said I completed the story and left. So okay. Speaking of that, Geo, let's do another mic check. Do you have any thoughts on Diablo? He might be gone. Okay. Well, I hope he's not. Uh, but I can't hear
I was
him.
muted. Sorry.
Okay. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts on Diablo?
No, I don't play Diablo, so I don't really have any thoughts on it.
Okay, cool. Don't play Diablo. Awesome. Way to add to the conversation. No, I'm just I'm sorry. I'm brutal. Okay, so real quick, not many folks watched my most recent video, and I get it. It wasn't really about like a video game review or any news story. There was some stuff that went down on Twitter, and right now I think I have 7, 10, it fluctuates. I have a few people in here. So my problem was I saw some folks taking shots at Gaz, and I don't necessarily like the stuff that Gaz posts. I think he's a Xbox shill who can't see the negative
Skeptic.
side of anything at all.
Sorry, that's his name on M4G. That's where I came across him about 10 years ago.
Okay, so we're not really gonna discuss it much because unless we can keep it positive. Because here's the thing, I'm not gonna go for the well they do it first, so now it's okay for me to do it because that's some like elementary school bull crap. We don't do that. We take the high road, or at least I do. And so here's the problem. 70 or 60 people watched this video, okay? And the last two videos I did got 200 views. And so that's big for my channel. And I thought now would be a decent time to do kind of a PSA type video. And since not many folks heard it, I'm going to give it here. We can puff out our chest. We can. Oh, I was like, why'd he leave? Sorry, what y'all don't see is that Geo just left the chat, and then like I was like, wait, what did I say? Can we are we not okay with being nice to people? Okay. Anyways, um, what was bothering me so much was that not that people were puffing out their chests saying that Xbox sucks, PlayStation sucks, haha, you have no games, haha, your Jim Ryan looks like Gordon Ramsay. Like, I don't give a shit. Whatever they were saying. Uh, but here's the problem. They started saying that the people at Xbox should unalive themselves. They started saying stuff about Gaz and his family, and because he's a little bit darker skinned,
Yeah, I don't agree with
saying
none of that.
saying that he should like do some of those type of things, or that insinuating that he's a TERROR thing. Like, that's horseshit.
Oh yeah, nah, it's completely unacceptable. If you're gonna argue or point out the argument or the point. Don't point to people or looks or color or because that's just first it's just weak arguments. Second, we're all fucking adults, man. We need to act like it. Do you know what I mean?
We are. And so the video I made was talking about, it was based off of something that Jez had said in one of his live streams about we don't have that playground anymore that we used to, and even my kids won't have it, where they would be on the playground and they'd be arguing with each other about what console was best. And oh, you have a Super Nintendo? Well, I have a Sega. I can play or Killer Instinct. What can you play? Oh, well, I can play Street Fighter. Yeah, we have that too. What about Sonic? Like, you don't have that. We don't. There's no place like that anymore. There's no place like the old school playground where it was just about gaming and just one-upping each other. But at the end of the day, you'd go over to that kid's house and y'all would spend the night and y'all would play Sega all night, or he would come over to your house and y'all would play Super Nintendo, and everybody would have a
Yeah.
great time. And but then on the playground,
Mine was never that clean.
the ghettos are rough, sir. So basically, it's it's to the point where that really bothered me, but the whole playground thing really stuck. And I have to do some research to see if somebody has this already. But the name of the show going forward is going to be the Gaming News Playground. And I want to start pulling some people in who have differences of opinion so we can start slinging some mud at each other and pumping our chest a little bit. And I think that'd be fun if I can get the right people on. So that's
Well, please get Gaz on and me on at the same time, please.
I mean, that's not going to be a immediate thing because I have to build up my name a little bit in order to get some of those Xbox guys to follow me. But there's a few that I'd love to have on. So if y'all listen to this at all, I'd love to have Doc on. Doc Dark is like he's my favorite Xbox person ever because he calls out their crap, just like I expect us to. But anyways, so going forward, this is going to be called the Gaming News Playground. Thrifty's dropping out of the title. I don't need my name in the title. I don't care. Plus, uh, it then sounds like this is my roundup, and I like having guests on. So, what do you mean, small p energy?
Small dick energy,
I
small penis.
understand that, but I mean, like, what is he for?
I think he means people calling names and attacking people instead of
Oh,
the
okay.
argument.
I love retro that you explained that to me. You explained an American euphemism to the American. That's awesome. Uh,
Well, to be fair, we use it too. I wasn't sure whether it was
that's
one of
true.
those ones that was exclusive or not, you know?
Well, hey, if you
Exclusives,
think
right?
about it, it's about little dick energy.
Dude, that's because he's British. They're all polite. Like every single one
Oh,
of them.
nah, man, we're not.
It's like when you meet an Indian person, you know, an actual like person from India, they're always so friendly. It's like they're always just so happy. Like I've never come across.
One of the friendliest countries you can go to.
I'm telling you, dude. And even over here, like you run in somewhere and you see them, and you're like, they're like, "Yes, how can I help you?" And I'm like, "I'm just walking through here, man." And they're like, "Okay, let me get the door." And I'm like, "Holy shit, okay, like Jesus, all right, cool." Like they're
They,
just so
they,
friendly.
they actually grow up as English as the second language for a lot of the kind of cities within India and stuff.
Oh, I know. Like
It's
that's
crazy.
so cool. Okay,
I can
so
barely speak English. How people learn two languages is beyond me.
listen, they had to find a different route for me to graduate high school many, many years ago because I couldn't pass a second language. And over here, it's required to graduate high school. So they had to find some like
I'm lucky I
loop,
got to drop it.
bro. They had to find some loophole in the system. It was bad. It was. Um, so no, I speak English, and I'm from the South in America, so I don't speak English very well. Um, okay, so let's move on. You know, we've talked about exclusives. We've talked about publishers and stuff getting bought. So I have two routes I can go with this. And Retro, you don't have the list in front of you. Sorry. But
So good.
the dude, this stream is so delayed. People are just now commenting on the Doc Dark thing. Unless RP is watching it in like not caught up to the live. But it seems very delayed. Anyways, so I got a couple routes I can go with this. We can talk about Final Fantasy 16 Retro. Have you played it?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Have you played more than just the demo?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. All right. I know Geo has. That was one of the questions I had for him because I don't want to talk to anybody who hasn't made it at least past the first crystal. Uh, because up until the first crystal, the game doesn't really open up, and after that, it is like a world of exploration and fun.
It
Um,
just gets better and better and better.
it does just get better and better and better. Um, sorry, everything in me wants to like mimic the British accent because I play D&D, and like in every D&D campaign I always have an English accent, always. And so when you said better and better, I almost mimicked that, and I was like, that would probably come off as really offensive, and I don't want to do that.
Mimic away, bro. You couldn't offend me if you tried, honestly. I ain't one of them kind of dudes.
So it's also not really it's not good to do an accent in front of the person who actually knows the accent. So anyways, we are all a-holes. Yes, we are, RP. What's up, Salty? I appreciate it. Uh, and so, okay.
Hey, Salty.
So we can talk about Final Fantasy 16. That's one of them from the exclusive conversation. Or we can talk about real quick how the publisher behind Gollum decided to fire the whole fucking dev team.
Not the dev
Probably would
team,
have
the
too.
whole
No,
department.
the whole department. The
Get the
whole
fuck out of my office.
freaking
What the fuck is this
department.
shit?
Okay, we're going to talk about that one because it made me laugh. Listen to this. This is from Digital Trends. This is the headline: Lord of the Rings Gollum publisher lays off internal development staff. The developer and publisher behind the Lord of the Rings Gollum, Daedalic Entertainment, laid off its internal development staff to focus on game publishing going forward. The game was so bad, they said, no, we're not making games anymore. We will pay other people to make games. Oh, so do y'all have any thoughts on that? Gollum was a hot mess, so I'm not asking for thoughts on that part of it. But, like, think about it this way: should that be the standard? Like, you released just an absolute dog water of a game, Redfall. And after you release Redfall, they come in and go, "Listen, guys, that ain't it. That's that's this ain't it. We're not doing it. We're gonna can y'all. I'm sorry, we're gonna lay y'all off. That's the polite way to say it. We're gonna get rid of y'all, because we don't want y'all to touch another video game ever again." Like, should this be the standard going forward?
Maybe not the whole team, but there should have been someone responsible for playtesting that and making sure that it was actually good. So really, I don't believe that the full team should have been fired. I think maybe they should have looked at who was overseeing everything and maybe fired that one.
Okay, maybe fire. Maybe they use the same QA guys that they did for Redfall. Maybe that's what it was. We expected this game to be 10 points higher, at least double digits.
Every time I hear that game, all I can see in my head is that video of the vampire trying to slash the dude through the car. That's all I ever
So
see.
I have a video that's going to be in my review. By the way, guys, speaking of that, I will be doing like a 30-minute review on this. I had somebody tell me today in one of my videos that they should be shorter because people lose interest after a few minutes. So I'm about to do like a 40-minute video on like a deep dive into Final Fantasy, its combat systems, the story, the lore. I'm going to do like AJS does where they talk about it first and then they have like a spoiler section. That way anybody who doesn't want the thing, doesn't want the spoilers, doesn't have to have them, but they can still get my thoughts. And if somebody tells me my videos are too short or too long, I will go ahead and make one that's like 3 seconds long, or I'll make one that's 30 minutes long, just because I can. And so I'm a little petty. But that dude also subscribed. So hey, if you're here, hi. So, not RP, dear God, he's in the chat. Geo, what are your thoughts, man? Do you think that this stuff should happen? Do you think that if you lay, and I'm not talking about a dud, okay? People will say Cyberpunk came out and just fell flat. Now they have redeemed it a lot, but like people will say that that game was a dud. I don't think CDPR needs to be just dissolved. Uh, but that's also because they had The Witcher 1, The Witcher 2, and The Witcher 3. Like, they built up some clout. But you have a new studio that is coming out, or not new, but they haven't done a ton of stuff. They get a hold of a major IP and then just absolutely just, it's shit. And they ruin an IP. They ruin uh, Gollum, which could have been a fun game. Like if it wouldn't have looked, played, acted, sound, and felt the way that it did, that game could have been good. But they came out and they shit the bed. So, do you think that studios that come out and try to swing for the fences in those respects should be just dissolved?
For major studios, no. But for Daedalic, who specialize in small indie games, to have to pay for the Lord of the Rings license and build the studio to have it flop this bad, yeah, that studio needed to go down. And maybe in the future they'll rethink it.
Okay.
This is not a Cyberpunk situation at all.
No, because they have no clout built up. Like on at this point, Insomniac could release the worst version of Spider-Man 2, and folks would look at it and go, "Okay, we'll see what Wolverine looks like." But like, that's only because we have decade and a half of uh, of great games from that studio, right? But anyways, I wanted to touch on that a little bit because I thought it was just interesting that they canned the entire studio. Like there was no nothing. There was no, hey guys, we tried. Hey guys, we're gonna keep patching the game. Hey guys, we're gonna do this. It just said, F it, we're done. Like y'all gotta leave. Yeah. Ain't saying you gotta go home, but you can't stay here.
It cost us
Like,
millions of dollars. You're out the door. Bye.
dude, there's no telling how much they paid for that freaking IP. There's no
Millions,
telling.
I guarantee you.
Oh, well, no, I don't know if that's true because that family, now that JRR's dead, they kind of whore out that licensing to anybody who wants it. Um,
Well, look how much Amazon paid for the Rings of Power, and they didn't even get the main book. They didn't even get characters like Gollum.
they weren't allowed to use them.
Yeah.
As soon as so there was this big huge uproar about Rings of Power even before it would come out. And then the closer it got to coming out, it was revealed that they weren't allowed to use any of the stuff from the actual trilogy or The Hobbit. And I'm like, no wonder this show sucks. No wonder it looks like shit. They can't use any of the source material. Like, how messed up is
It's
that? Hey,
pointless.
can you explain this? Excuse me, objection, Your Honor. Hey, with that, that's a great forced segue into the ABK deal, which, dear God, I don't want to talk about it, but I'm gonna because it's the only mother loving thing in the frickin' world of gaming news. And I missed talking about it last week and the week before. So, Retro, I hope you're still here because I'm about to come to you a little bit on this one.
I'm
Uh,
here.
ABK. So the trial is, depending on who you listen to, the trial is either going amazing or it's going terrible. Or there's delusional people on both sides that think it's going amazing when it's actually going terrible, or vice versa. And so my thought is I have kept up with every freaking podcast I could find over this stupid trial. I haven't had a chance to do any of the research myself. Like I said, I was on call last week and I was sleeping, playing Final Fantasy, or working. And so, mostly working though. I put in about 70 hours last week. It was rough. And so, I didn't have a lot of time. So, I didn't dive into it. But, Thrash would put something out, Jez would put something out. The Saltiest Gaming podcast covered a lot of the stuff that went on in the trial. Uh, and I'm kind of catching things secondhand. So, I was hoping we'd get a ruling today. But just like the American government, they're taking their sweet time to accomplish anything. And so we still wait. What are your thoughts, Retro? And then Geo, will get to you next. What are your thoughts, Retro, on actually, like, what happens if this deal goes through or if it doesn't? I want to know what you think is going to happen in the ruling. What do you think they're going to rule? And then I want your opinion on what happens after they rule that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Okay, go ahead. You don't want to talk about this either. That's funny. Go ahead.
No, it's not even that, dude. Do you know what it is? I just don't know what way it's gonna go. If you read kind of more the Xbox centric people, you kind of get Microsoft's argument. And then if you go over to the PlayStation side and you read their lot, you kind of get in their argument. And if you put them both together, it seems that both kind of have points and counterpoints. And it's really just going to depend on what that judge knows and what that judge sees. Um, because if they grant an injunction, I think the deal's done. I don't think it's going to happen if they
Well,
get
Bobby
granted an
Kotick said
injunction.
that. Bobby Kotick said he
Well,
probably wouldn't continue with the deal if the injunction was granted.
that's because it's going to end up costing them more in the long run. You know, to drag it out and keep all their stuff on hold and um. So yeah, I think they take the money and run. But as for I don't know what way it's going to go. I can't say yeah, it's definitely going Microsoft's way or it's definitely going the FTC's way because I don't know. Um, and depending on what side you listen to, they're winning. So yeah, it's kind of hard to pin down. But my own personal opinion is, I think it's going to go through with concessions. I really like. It seems to be that they're not so worried about the console space. It's all about the cloud and emerging markets and stuff. And I think because of that, they might get away with it. You know, I just don't know. I'm not 100% either way.
So you said that each side has brought up really good points and counterpoints and all that. Like, and as I'm inclined to agree because both sides do have good points. I I'm going to pull this back a little bit and let's talk about what
Okay.
Kotek said because something hit me while I was mentioning that, and I don't
Right.
know why I didn't think of it before. Is Bobby Kotick only doing this to satisfy his shareholders?
Oh,
Do you think
100%.
he actually wants to be purchased by Microsoft?
Um, no, I think he's being, I know it's hard to trust these people all the time, but I think he's being truthful when he says that it's what the shareholders voted for. Because he's
Mm.
not wrong. Whatever they vote for, he has to do.
He's absolutely right.
So, yeah, I would tend to believe him on that point. I think if he had it his way, he'd keep it going the way it is. He's been the king of the castle for so long. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
yeah, it's a weird one. I mean, if if they run, they get 3 billion. I mean, where's the downside for Activision? There doesn't seem to be one. Either they get bought and it's no longer their problem, or they get 3 billion in the coffers tax free.
Speaking of
So
3 billion, did you know that Diablo Immortal has made them 500+ million dollars, not including China, like
yeah,
in a year?
that's a lot of money really quickly. Like,
So basically, what they're gonna get from Microsoft is basically Diablo Immortal's revenue times six. Like that's, that doesn't sound like much when you put it that way. So there, this just shows though how big Activision Blizzard actually is. Like they have games that bring in half a mil a year on a mobile device, or half a bill,
yeah,
sorry. Dude, that's insane. So that's kind of, I actually, Geo, what do you got? We'll see if you have uh, still have mic issues or if they can hear you. What's your thought on ABK? Do you think they're going to approve it? Do you think they're not? And I want you to expound on what you think the fallout of whatever decision you've come up with.
Well, I'm always gonna have mic issues because I have the cheapest mic in the world.
Ah,
But as for the ABK deal, with the preliminary injunction coming up, the decision coming up, who knows? Like it's like Retro said, nobody knows how it's going to turn out. I wouldn't be surprised either way. As for the repercussions, if they deny the injunction, Microsoft is going to try to close the deal really fast,
yup.
and that's going to cause Sony and others to buy up other studios. And Microsoft, you saw their list of studios they want to buy after this too. So it's just going to be a runaway effect.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to give my answer here. I, like y'all, think it can go either way. And here's what happens if the deal gets approved or if the injunction gets denied. Because after that, the deal's approved. Like they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna buy that thing as fast as they possibly can, and then they're just gonna tell the UK to piss off. That's exactly what's gonna happen, which is gonna be very, very interesting. The fallout from that, and I don't even want to speculate on what that's gonna cause. I'm gonna keep this
Fines
in.
every year to the UK.
Do what?
They'll be paying fines to the UK every year that they have activism.
I
not
don't
just
know.
that, any of the offices, any of the thing, you know what I mean? I don't.
That's what I
I,
thought. I thought it extended way further than just the
it
gaming
does.
sector.
It does. But this is the thing. Our CMA isn't really controlled by the government. So when they were lobbying the government and stuff, it wasn't really doing anything because the whole point of our CMA is that it's an independent organization. And it still gets funds and stuff from the government, and the government can introduce new laws and stuff that they have to follow. But they can't outright just turn around and go, you have to change your decision. You know, there's a process. You have to go to the CAT, which is a tribunal, if you have any problems with the CMA. So Microsoft have got to do that first. I think they already have started the process, but they were lobbying like our our MPs and stuff, and it's like they can't do nothing. They can't just they can't turn around and go, you have to approve this because it would then be illegal. They're just not allowed. I know you hear a lot of different things online about these so-called experts saying what they can and can't do, but I can promise you the government cannot intervene and make the CMA just change their mind for no reason. It would literally have to be like national security importance, something really like bad like that for them to actually be able to step in. But normal purchases of companies and stuff, they can't.
See, and but my thing, oh, man, okay, this is going to get me in the weeds a little bit because my thing is that if this does go through, I'm not concerned about Call of Duty. I don't give a shit. I hate Call of Duty.
Yeah, I'm
That's
with you.
fine. I don't care about Diablo anymore. I'm going to buy Diablo 4 on sale so I can play my 11-hour story campaign and I'm going to be done. Fine. I don't care about anything that they offer, and I don't play mobile games except for one, and we're going to talk about it later because every mother father in here needs to be playing this game. It's made by the father of Final Fantasy, and I need everybody to play it. I don't care if you need to go buy an Apple device to do it because it's only on the Apple Arcade. Don't get mad at Sakaguchi for taking a paycheck. Like, it's 100% worth it. I love the thing. Anyways, the fallout from this is what I am genuinely concerned about. Like the threats that Brad Smith made after the CMA blocked the deal. And people can say, well, it was just a press release. It was just a statement. No, 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 no. There were veiled threats all through that thing. We've done business
Bro,
with
they
y'all
had
for.
advertisements in our London Underground for the ABK deal. They had actual ads. They'd done a whole ad campaign about it, man. It was ridiculous. For a buyout that wasn't, it was still going through the motions, and they've got like full on advertisements in our train stations and stuff, telling us about how good the ABK deal will be. I'm not even joking. This is what I'm saying. They went crazy, man.
You're kidding. You're joking.
No,
Like I
no,
don't.
no, 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 no. I will find some pictures for you. It was in our London Underground, and it was literally like an advertisement about why the ABK Microsoft merger was so good.
Hey, we got a new sub tonight. Thank you, whoever did that. I appreciate that. Hit that like button, guys. Share this out. That's my biggest worry. And the whole stream just dropped. Now we just have us three in here. That's cool. They'll come back. Dude, YouTube hates me. I swear to God, they hate me. A few weeks ago, when Thrash and I were trying to do this, uh, it like didn't load the first stream, so I had to kill the stream and start it over within the first like 30 seconds. Nothing loaded, and like everybody since uh since Thrash was on, everybody has had mic issues. Everybody. And it is a bother. And even Nelson, who's used his mics before on Doomsayers, uh, he was having mic issues. He doesn't ever have mic issues. And so it's just something about my channel. Anyways, so here's the deal. If it goes through, there's going to be a ton of fallout between Microsoft and the UK. I don't really know for certain how deep that goes. Like, is it because Microsoft did one bad dealing here that Microsoft products cannot be sold there or used? Because that would F up a lot of stuff if that's the case. And basically, it'd be Microsoft forcing the hand of the CMA that says, hey guys, you need to do this or y'all will lose all of our stuff by y'all's rules, not ours. So it's essentially strong arming a whole nation to bow down for $70 billion. Uh, the other
Yeah, but
side of it,
the thing Microsoft would need to realize is if they pull out of their stuff in the UK, right? Say they do a full pull out, so military contracts, defense contracts, a lot. Google, Amazon are more than willing, would be more than willing to jump in and fill that need. So it
oh,
wouldn't
Google
just
would have a
be,
field day with it.
yeah, it wouldn't just be Activision revenue they're losing. It would be a lot. And because they've got so many offices and stuff in the UK, they would be getting fined until that shit's gone.
Sounds fine to me. Make them keep paying. I don't care. I don't
But
like
I
people trying to buy the
honestly,
game.
if it does go through, even without the UK approving, the UK will just fine them.
Would they still let them sell their product there?
Probably.
No.
Oh, that's good. We had
Mon
a probably and a no. All right.
Money talks. This is the thing. Money talks, and Microsoft have an awful lot of it.
Well, I'd say that, like, obviously you're going to be able to buy Windows and crap like that, but Activision games owned by Microsoft, no.
True. No,
Uh,
they could put a blanket ban on Activision. They could, yeah. I
just
just
say
don't know if they
no,
would.
no, nothing. ABK.
Yeah, yeah. Or ABK would then have to become like they would have to operate outside of the UK and get a different company to publish, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the exact
So
rules.
that's actually what they did in China for Diablo Immortal. They had to get NetEase uh, to like publish it over there, so that
Okay.
way they could have it on the mobile devices in China. They pissed off NetEase and had to work on some other workaround to get Diablo Immortal back over there because they pissed off NetEase because they didn't want to really pay NetEase for doing their job, and they were like, "Yeah, no, we're not doing that, and we're not open to having any more conversations with y'all. Y'all have a good day." And I was like, "Damn, okay, well, you're a rotten mobile phone game developer, but kudos to y'all for standing up to Microsoft, like,
Yeah.
or standing up to ABK. Sorry." Um, but so if it doesn't go through, which I don't know, after all the commentary I've listened to and the different points that have been made, uh, I really think that it's going to get blocked or the injunction will be granted. I don't necessarily think it's going to be blocked, but I think that the injunction will be granted uh, for the deal to be stalled or stopped. And if that happens, the big fear is that Microsoft will then just go on a spending spree and buy up everything. The problem is there's 24 studios that have already told them to pound sand. And like that, this has all come out in the trial. If y'all remember, there was a whole list of publishers that came out of folks who told Microsoft, no, we don't want it. Thanks, you have a good day. Square Enix was one of them. Sega was
Yeah.
Geo pointed this out earlier. Sega was another one. And so you don't have, I don't have the worry that that's going to happen. I don't have the, maybe they'll get Bandai, maybe they'll get Capcom, maybe they'll try to beef up their presence uh, in Japan a little bit. Maybe they'll try to grab CDPR. I actually think CDPR would be a good fit for Microsoft and their brand and kind of what they do well, which is not much lately, but what they used to do well, which were your Western RPGs and your first-person shooters. Like, I think they would be really good for them and for CDPR. That would suck for me because I want to play Witcher 4 in the next 20 years whenever it comes out. But there are certain things that they could purchase that would hurt but wouldn't corner a market. Uh, but I'll tell you, with that list that came out, I don't have any worries about Microsoft and who they're going to buy because at the end of the day, a lot of these privately held companies are just going to tell them to piss off. Like, am I off on that, or does that make sense?
No, I get where you're coming from. I think if ABK doesn't go through, I think they're gonna maybe not try for such big fish next time. But they're not done with buying. There's no way. That Game Pass needs a constant stream of games. So they're gonna get it one way or the other. I
Well, don't you think their 23 studios can accomplish, or 19 studios? Sorry, or what? How many do they have now? 23,
think it's
21.
20
21.
something.
Okay. Uh, why are there 21 game studios not do. People talk all the time. Well, PlayStation has
No,
19
I agree with you.
studios.
I agree with you. The output's been terrible for the last, I don't know, decade at least. There's no cadence to it. There's no continuality to it. It's stop and start. It's not been good enough. Um, but it has only been the last what 5 or 6 years they got all of them studios together, and I think we're starting to see stuff come from them. But it has been very slow. I'm with you there. It's like what's what's taking you off so long?
Uh huh. So here's my. Somebody just mentioned Game Pass, and ha ha ha, we're gonna mention Game Pass here. God, I hate talking about Xbox. It's fucking depressing. So here, you talked about Game Pass and how they need a better cadence, and that's why they need to buy these places, and because their cadence has been jack shit for lately. Uh, so you were saying that, and it got me thinking about PlayStation because I am a PlayStation channel. Like, if nobody knew, the PS in my name stands for PlayStation. They are giving us. This is going to kind of segue into another topic that I had for tonight. We have damn near too many games coming out available to PlayStation players, and I think that's harming gaming in a way. And let me tell you why I say that. So a game comes out. Final Fantasy XVI came out, sold 3 million copies in the first 6 days. Kudos to them. Fastest selling PlayStation 5 exclusive. Sixth fastest selling exclusive for the PlayStation ever. Sixth fastest. Other ones on that list went on to sell 10, 15, and 20 million copies. So that just tells you what Final Fantasy is kind of set up to do. And so you have that. Awesome. They also gave us Spider-Man. Or they're giving us Spider-Man. They're giving us Helldivers. They're giving us Stellar Blade. And all these are supposed to come out within the next 6 months. That's 3 games in 6 months, plus whatever single player or whatever third party studio games are coming out. Like, I have a problem right now. AEW Fight Forever or Fight Night or whatever it's called just came out. And I have folks who know that I love wrestling and I love AEW. Like, man, are you buying this? Nah, dude, I just spent $100 on freaking Final Fantasy. No, I'm not buying it. I can't. Like, it just doesn't work that way. And so I don't get to play some of these games. And I think that that's what is hurting game sales right now, is we have too many good games coming out every year. Back in the day, we used to get like one good shooter a year. You'd have like 7 shooters come out, but only one of them was really good. Like not the Modern Warfare, the Medal of Honor games. You had a new Medal of Honor once every couple years. And when that game came out, that was the shooter to end all shooters. That's the one you played. You didn't play any of the other crap. Then you had the Final Fantasy series, or the Tales of series, or the Trails series for your JRPGs that were like once a year you'd get one of them, and then the next year you'd get whatever one you didn't get from the year before. And so you had your JRPG, you had your Western RPGs, you had your action games, but I don't remember this many high-profile, good quality games coming out at such a remarkable cadence on the PS5. It and so you have games that come out near a Final Fantasy where 3 million people went out and bought it in 6 days, and you're sitting there and that's shipped and sold. So that's digital and physical, by the way, just throwing that out there. Like, you have these games that come out, and then you have an AEW Fight Forever. Or you're going to have a Starfield right next to a Helldivers, or a Spider-Man right next to a Lies of P. Like, you have so many big budget games coming out in such a
Don't forget
small
the Crew
cadence.
Motorfest. That's out around September too.
Yeah. So you have.
Sorry, I've always got to shout at the racing games, man. They don't get enough love.
I know you do. I know you do. I know you do. You, you and social are my racing brethren. I get it. I understand that. And if I had a
Just love
PSVR
cars and
2,
going fast, man. I can't help it.
if I had a PSVR 2, I would join y'all little secret society. I promise I
Oh,
would.
bro, it's such an experience.
Just so I can get on there and drive through like European areas with you and Wooly, I would do it in a freaking heartbeat. Wooly is my dude. I love that dude.
Oh yeah.
He is such a good guy. Um, but so like does that make sense? Like we're getting too many games at once and I can't play all of them. And if the average gamer is between 25 and 35 on the PlayStation, how in the heck are we expecting any game to be able to come out and be a blockbuster title other than established franchises or established studios? And I've talked a lot, so I'm going to shut up now because there are other people here. Retro, what's your thoughts on this?
Um, I'm always quite selective in my games are by day one. Um, so even with an increased volume, I would still do that. Do you know what I mean? So I'd have my must buy day one games, stuff like Gran Turismo, Final Fantasy, Tekken, just the stuff we've all grown up with and stuff like that. But then I'll have a list of games that I'm interested in, like your indies, third parties, and stuff like that. And I'll just be selective. Um, the ones I really want, I get as soon as I can. The rest get put into a list for buy later, and then I just check back to see if they're on sale or anything. Sometimes I grab them and won't even play them straight away just because they're on sale. Do you know what I mean? Like I've still got Alan Wake remastered sitting waiting to play. Um, but yeah, I'll be honest, the bulk of my games I buy on sale. Um, it's just really the big marquee titles that I would tend to be buying day one.
Hmm. Okay. Yes. Okay. So perfect. That because that kind of feeds into what I was saying. Because I don't know. Maybe gaming's always been this way, and I just now have enough money to where it's like I notice it because I'm like having to like plan out purchases and stuff for games coming. But there's so many good games that I want to play. And there's for one, so Game Ranks did a thing that Jake Baldino said he looked at his library of games that he hasn't beaten yet, and looked at how to beat or how long to beat each game, and he said he had more hours of gaming that he hasn't played yet, or that he's interested in playing of games that are coming out, than he has years left in the average lifespan of a person.
Damn.
Like, like the libraries that I have a library of like 200 and something games, and that's digital and physical. But like, you got to think 10, let's say an average of 15 hours a game because I play a lot of RPGs. So let's say an average of 15, 20 hours a game. I'm looking at over 1,000. What is that? 200 times 20. Let's say I've beat half of them, so 100 times 20, 200 hours or 2,000 hours. Like 2,000 hours of games that I have not touched.
I
That's
honestly don't even
insane.
want to look at mine, man.
So, Gio, what's your thoughts, man? Is this hurting other games? Is this hurting game sales? Is this making it to where other studios can't really get a foot in unless their game is just a massive hit? What's your thoughts?
I mean, in a way, it is kind of hurting third-party entrance into gaming. I mean, it's just like the Hollywood movie system. Hundreds of movies come out every year. You watch maybe 3 or 4, and those are like the big blockbusters that come out in the summer. You know what I
That's
mean?
a good point.
Like this year, you're gonna have the Barbie movie go up against Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan's movie. Barbie is gonna make all the money. Oppenheimer is gonna take all the awards.
Oh, I think you got that backwards. The Oppenheimer movie looks really good.
Yeah, Barbie. Barbie. Don't underestimate the little schoolgirls out there that'll go watch Barbie like 15 times.
I was gonna make a joke, but it's not nice.
So was I, and I thought, no, Phil, just shut your mouth,
Go ahead.
keep
Go
it
ahead,
quiet.
okay? Do it.
I, I can't say mine on live air.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, I don't want to be cancelled, man.
Yeah, I can't. I can't. I can't. I think Retro and I were on the same wavelength, though. I
Tell
just.
me out. Tell me when the stream ends.
Sure, if I remember. I have the memory of a goldfish, my friend. Um, so okay, so they do hurt the other time. So think about this: Sea of Stars is coming out in August, August 26th, I believe, and I have been so high on this game. I missed the Kickstarter, so I can't get a digital deluxe or a deluxe edition or anything like that, and I'm so pissed off about that. All you had to do was give them $100 of the Kickstarter, and you got like a steelbook, you got a map, you got all this other cool shit, and I'm so sad I couldn't. I've even messaged like their Twitter page, like, "Hey guys, is there a way that I can just like pay y'all now?" Like for this stuff because the game looks so good. Some of the music is done by the same composer who did Chrono Trigger. It's set in that like 16-bit universe type look, and it's a JRPG style. Turn-based combat, rich story, old school graphics. Man, I'm freaking there. Like, Chained Echoes was one of my favorite games of last year. It was the best $25 I have ever spent on a video game, hands down, bar none. I got to fight in a mech suit in Chained Echoes, okay? Like, it was awesome. But games like that are coming out in August, 10 days before Starfield, they don't stand a chance, in my opinion, to really pop off. They don't
I think
stand.
Starfield is a bad example
Why do you say
because
that?
I don't think it's going to sell great. It's on Game Pass on PC and Xbox.
So you don't think PC players will just buy it?
Um,
No.
that's probably where you're going to see the bulk of the buys. But I think Game Pass is definitely going to hamper those numbers for that game. I mean, we've kind of seen it with every other release. Did you ever see Forza Horizon chart? Did you ever see Halo chart? What about Redfall? No?
Oh,
What about that
Redfall
other one
charted.
that was good? High on
Redfall
Life?
needs to win a Razzie. I don't know if you know what a Razzie is, but it's
Is that not?
basically.
It's
Go
like the
ahead.
worst. It's like the best of the worst,
Yes, the
or the
best of the
worst of the
worst.
worst.
Yes, it's the
Yeah.
The worst of the
Razzies.
worst.
There's there's been movies that I've really enjoyed just because they're stupid fun that have won those awards, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense, because the movie was just god awful, but it was funny. Um, but actually, I think Adam Sandler has won a Razzie. If I'm not mistaken, he was one of the first guys that
That dude gets a bit of a raw deal. I find, man.
he does, man.
Every other comedian is allowed to just be the same the whole way through the career. Yeah, he's expected to act different in every movie. It's like, well, no, he's in a comedy movie. That's his shtick. That's him.
You want to know why? I can tell you why. Him and Jim Carrey
Right.
came up around the same time, okay?
Okay.
And Jim Carrey went through this metamorphosis as an actor. He's one of my favorites, be it comedy or drama or intrigue, mystery. I freaking love dang near everything that he's in. And he had this metamorphosis where he did movies like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Then he went and did he did another one, a pretty serious one that I haven't seen yet. Oh no, he did Man on the Moon, which was the Andy Kaufman story. Then he did uh, the number 23. And like all of those were done relatively close to each other. And he freaking nailed it. Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and the number 23 are two of the absolute best movies that you can watch. The number 23 you'll actually have to watch twice. It's one of those type of movies. Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah, bit of a brain twister.
Bit of a brain twister. And funny enough, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind I had to watch 3 times because of how it's staggered and how the story is done. So you never quite get a bearing on where you're at in the story, which is cool
Yeah.
because the main character doesn't really have a bearing on his life either. So it kind of puts you in the same. Anyways, fantastic movies. And so then Adam Sandler comes out, does Spanglish, and Spanglish really hit. And then he tried to do a dark comedy with Click. That didn't hit. After that, he tried to do. There was another serious one that he did, and then he went back to doing stupid comedy. And I don't mind his stupid comedy, by the way. I actually like his movies. But then he did Grown Ups, which was more of a comedy, but more of just a feel good, almost had a sitcom feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he did Grown Ups 2, and then he did that movie about the diamonds. And he acted his ass off in that movie, and he got snubbed and didn't win a freaking thing for it, and he should have. And then he comes out and does that basketball movie that's on Netflix. That is probably the only Netflix movie that I actually like from beginning to end. And so he gets this raw deal because of the people who he was around at the time and the people who came up with him have been able to jump genres better than he has. And so that's not that he does a bad job, but when you're put up against the likes of a Jim Carrey, who was popular for comedy around the same time as you, then you look and go, oh, wait, or Will Smith, even, or Martin Lawrence. Like, all of these guys have done serious movies. And so you have, and they've all knocked it out of the park. Uh, and then you have him who kind of faltered on one of them, and folks are like, yeah, he can't act. And I'm like, wait a minute. Bedtime Stories is one of the most heartfelt movies I think I've ever seen. It is fun, it's good for children, and he actually goes through a character change in that is visible in his. Anyways, shit, y'all gonna get. This is a gaming podcast, and we got on to Adam Sandler. It was probably my fault, but okay. So back,
Well, he was in the Pixels movie.
he was.
That's about
That
gaming.
was so bad. That movie was so terrible. It was, oh Lord help. And I'm also one of those ones that can look at his bio or his videography and go, okay, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, that one was crap. That one was crap. That's good. You can stay. We like you and F you. Like that's kind of how that works. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we are going to switch topics. We've talked, let me pull up my notes real quick because I am an amazing host that has all of his stuff lined out, and I am so professional here. Give me just a second. Okay, so we have talked about um, the no verdict yet. We've talked about what I think will happen, what y'all will think will happen. Oh, okay. This was a cool article that I found on GameSpot. So as I was looking up stuff for tonight and things to talk about, I came across this article probably around like 2, 3 o'clock this afternoon, and it was that Halo Infinite is down to 2%, 2%, not 10, 2% of its peak player base on Steam. What that boils down to
Wow.
is 6,000 people are playing it on Steam. That does not that so that includes PC, but that doesn't include Xbox. So I'll give them that. Holy shit! This is a free to play game. Free. Just play it. Just play it. That's all you have to do is play it. That's it.
If the
Nothing
fans
else.
aren't playing it, what does it tell you?
6,000. There are 6,000 mother fathers on Twitter right now gushing over Halo Infinite, and I guarantee you most of them aren't even playing it. Like,
I've noticed that with quite a few Twitter accounts. They talk a lot of gaming, but they don't actually seem to do an awful lot of it.
that's so true. that's that's one of those things that baffles me. So
Yeah,
somebody
everywhere, man.
somebody tried to point out earlier, several months ago, that King Thrash doesn't play video games. Okay, well, because they had like his alt account or something. Well, him and I are PlayStation friends because he's been on my show, so I have access to his account and all of his stuff, and I can see what he's played, how much he's played, and that dude games more than any human individual I know should game. He he plays everything, and if he
Oh
don't
yeah,
fucks with it,
yeah.
he don't fucks with it. But he has like 7,000 trophies. Like, I'm not a trophy hunter, but that's damn impressive. And
I
so,
couldn't tell you
like,
how many I've got, man. I
shit,
kind of
man.
I stopped the chasing after. Fuck. See,
After fuck.
I went more after achievements early on, say the 360 PS3 days. Um,
So
yeah, and by
you
the
actually
time the
have more
trophies
trophies
came,
than I do.
oh okay.
You
Bears
have,
but
I think,
pure.
about 1,000 more trophies than me. But it's also because, yeah, you have exactly 1,000 more. But it's also because I don't trophy chase. I beat a game and I'll be at like 46% trophies, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it. I'm not spending this whole time trying to get headshots on 45 million people just so I can get a trophy for headshots.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's pretty much my attitude these days to it.
I don't need this. So guys, if you're still here and haven't hit that like button yet, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. I do want to give a shout out to somebody who joined the channel. I really appreciate that. I have it on here if my freaking phone would work. Justin Bogard Gaming, welcome to what is going to be called the Gaming News Playground. I appreciate it. Welcome to my channel, man. Um, so let's continue on because I'm wanting to get through a few more things before I call it for the night. Because I don't like to I like to stay around the 2 hour mark. I feel like 2 hours with two or three people is a perfect time frame. So with the player base of Halo being jack shit, because the game is jack shit. Um, should this give other companies cause for concern when it comes to games as a service, or is this just an Xbox problem? Geo, I will come over to you because I haven't come to you much tonight. What you got?
Thank you for coming on over.
Uh,
It's an Xbox problem. Just flat out Xbox problem.
okay, explain.
Well, Retro touched on it. It's a Game Pass effect, cannibalizing sales, cannibalizing what's it called? Player activity.
Okay. So what would you say about? And I'm going to be devil's advocate here because I'm going to push back on that.
Go
So
ahead.
what would you say about games like Babylon's Fall? Whose fault was that? Because you can't blame
I
Xbox
blame
for that one.
everyone.
Exactly. It was a Square Enix title that was supposed to be an
But
MMO type deal.
well, I'll raise you this: you don't see Bungie's players dropping like that. I think Destiny's players aren't dropping like that.
Okay. You also don't see COD
Gran
players dropping
Turismo's
like
don't
that.
drop like that.
What was that, Retro?
Gran Turismo's players don't drop like that either.
No, 'cause that's because y'all only play racing games. Like
Bro, it's
I don't.
not just a racing game, it's
I,
life.
exactly, exactly. I already have a full time job. I don't need a second. Thank you though.
He's
No,
trying to get into the sequel for Gran Turismo.
I'm telling you, dude, they're gonna have it in UK next time, and it's gonna be Wooly and Retro behind a freaking wheel, just like geeking out from ear to ear, just like, oh my god, I'm driving the Lundenburg Speedway, hell yeah, or
I
Lindenberg
love
or
it, man.
Heidenberg or
Spot
Hiddenberg
on.
or whatever it is.
Spot on.
The
Uh,
Nürburgring.
so my thing is I don't think it's just an Xbox problem. I think that everybody has these ideas of we can make the next games as a service and it's going to be the next Final Fantasy 14 or the next WoW or the next Destiny or the next Division or the next Call of Duty or the next DC universe, which funny enough is still going. Like DC Online Universe or DCO was a freaking game that was like on the PlayStation with release that was an online third person fetch quest, collect this, battle this, do these missions. Like it I played it because I didn't have any money for games back when the PS4 came out. So I played it and it was not bad. And then I find out somebody was posting about it the other day, and I was like, "Wait, what? Huh? This game is still going? What? What the hell? We can get this game going, but we can't get Babylon's Fall or Breakout All Star or whatever the fuck that game was called. That stupid game that came out. The it wasn't All Star Racers. It was one of them. Was it Brawlhalla? Help me out, guys. Which one came out that was like one of those cartoony games that ended up shutting down? Um,
Oh shit, there's been a few, man.
was it the Nickelodeon one?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Anyways, one or two of those games have come out and shut down. Like within 6 months have shut down. You have other games that have come out and said, hey, listen, after this date, we're not offering support for it anymore. You can still play it, but we're not off. Yeah, the dodgeball game. That's Toolman in the chat just said dodgeball game. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it though. Um, I think that was the Nickelodeon All Stars one. Like for some reason that's sticking in my head. Or no, Multiverses. Multiverses is what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, I love how we talk about it like it's a distant memory. It's just less than a year old. Like, yeah.
What do you want to say?
I remember back in my day when the multiverses came out. Like, it was just 6 months ago. And it's gone.
You brought up DC Online. That was a PS3 game.
And it's still going because it has a player base. Like, that's my point. Marvel's Omega would have still been going if the head of the company who made it wasn't a sleaze. That's the only reason that game got pulled from the shelf and got destroyed. Because Marvel Heroes Omega was an online PC game that came to the PlayStation and did so well. My brother and I played it. I had Deadpool, like I had Gambit, I had so many players. And every time you beat the campaign, you earned enough in-game currency to purchase another player. And so, like, the game was so good, and then I get on to log in like 2 weeks. I took a break, and like 2 weeks I come back, and it's like, hey, we're shutting this down. So I get on Google. Why are you shutting down Marvel Heroes Omega? And it's basically because of sexual allegations and confirmed sexual misconduct by the head of the studio. And I'm like, wait a minute, can't you just like take this and give it to somebody else? Like, do we have to kill it? Like, this is what I want to give money to. But the problem with games as a service is everybody thinks they can be the next one that has that staying power. And so I think that if a brand like Halo, or even a brand like Multiverses, or a publisher like Square Enix cannot get another MMO off the ground, why in the absolute hell are we trying to make every freaking game a games as a service? Why are we? I mean, I grant it only takes one to really hit to be in the good graces of the financial gods, but like I think that the Halo story should be a cautionary tale to every other company out there wanting to take an IP and send it over to the games as a service model. and I'll let y'all jump in. Whoever wants to jump in first with their thoughts on this.
I just think it has to be done right. I think if you've got a clear game plan, you've got a clear content delivery schedule, and you don't keep missing your targets, I think you can make a success at a live service. But it has to have content constantly almost. I mean, you try to keep these games going for as long as you can. And I feel a lot of them fall down at the first hurdle, which is regular content. They bring the base game out, and then it takes them ages to even get the first season out normally. Um, so yeah, I think if it's done right, they can be successful. But I also think there's a lot more hazards and trip ups involved in a live service game than there would be your typical, your normal single player or normal single player with multiplayer kind of game. But yeah, I think they just have to hit it right. And unfortunately, a lot just don't seem to have the right idea or the right amount of people behind it to get the stuff out on time, stuff like that.
Gio, what you got?
My issue with Halo is that they took an established IP that had what 5 or 7 games after five main games and like 2 side games, and they tried the MMO route, and they didn't have the content. They couldn't even get the campaign working correctly. They had to delay it for a year. And you have all these other examples of successful MMO. I mean, you still have Final Fantasy XIV still going. You have Genshin Impact. That company is going to do another MMO action RPG. What else is coming out? Marathon is looking like it's going to be good.
Off the CGI trailer, we look at Bungie and go, "Yep, that's gonna be good." I love
I'm
it.
not basing it off the CGI trailer. I'm basing it off the details they gave on the press release.
You mean the thing that should have been in the showcase? Anyways.
Well, I'm not, a game marketing director, so I'm not Aaron Greenberg and his genius.
That's so sweet that you called him a marketing director. That's cute.
That's his title. He's the vice president of marketing.
Oh, that scares me. That's, oh, so he advertises the coffee and Booty brings the coffee. Got it.
And
Oh,
he's wearing the Hold the Line T-shirt at showcases.
sorry. I, I know retro. Retro, you have Game Pass, don't you?
Well, kind of. It's more for my son than anything.
Okay. I know you've talked about Xbox before, so I don't want to offend you by anything we're saying. Remember, this is just schoolyard game
Well,
bullshit.
I haven't mained Xbox since 360 because of how bad they've been doing. So you're not going to offend me in any way.
Okay.
Anything you could possibly say about Xbox, I have already said it and screamed it to the heavens to get them to try and turn that shit around.
Fair
And
enough.
I can even tell you when it was. I can tell you when it was. Connect. That's when it all started.
Yeah, that's true.
That's when it all started, man. And I begged them not to do it, man. Not to go the casual route. Keep doing what they were doing. They were onto a good thing. And they
You know,
fucked it up, and they've just been fucking it up ever since.
Donnie Boy lost his job over Connect.
Yeah, it was a bad move, man. It was a bad move. But see, the Connect itself wasn't the issue. It was the fact that they concentrated on the Connect to the detriment of everything else. You know what I mean? Everything either had to be Connect exclusive or work with Connect or have some sort of funky voice controls that you could do it through the console anyway. So I never got that. Um, But yeah, it just from Connect, they really have tried a few different things instead of just sticking to what was actually working. And I've never really understood it. What were they chasing that they weren't getting? They were getting good console sales, they were getting good engagement, they were getting good game sales. And then they chased the Connect and it just fell apart. And it ain't been right since.
The Wii's success.
Yeah, they did. They tried to chase the casuals, man. They got greedy.
I think they got greedy too early. So here's the
Sony did the same thing trying to copy the Wii, but they gave up on it pretty fast.
well, and I will tell you that Sony got greedy too early with the success of the PlayStation 2. They got super greedy when it came
Yeah.
out with the PS3, and Xbox One did the same mistake. You need some clout in the game before you need to be where Nintendo was before you start going, you know what, we're going to start charging for every little thing. We're going to start making you pay to come online. We're going to take your games away and make them to where you can't share them. I think if Xbox would have waited, let's see, 360, the Xbox One, if they would have done some of that bullshit this generation, I think it would have gone over better. Just because they had three full generations of amazing titles, amazing games, amazing content. You have a player base probably of 80 million by that point. You've taken 30, 40 million away from Sony. So you and Sony are more closer now. Sony probably only has 110. You have 80. And you can now sit there and go, okay, cool. We're going to try some bullshit now. Let's go ahead. Sony has that ability now with the PS5 because even if they release the Q and it completely sells to only 5% of their market base, that's still 7.5 million motherfuckers going out and buying a Q Lite. That's still a success. Like, because they have the clout, they have the player base, they have the people who go, okay, cool. I don't need to buy every little thing that Sony drops. I don't need to. If they drop something I want, I can buy it. But there's so many people because they did so much right for so long. Xbox right now is on the opposite end. They've done so much wrong for so long that any change that they try to make right now is going to be met with hostility unless it is just a sweeping, amazing change for the players and for the players only. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. so,
I mean, I can elaborate. There's only one change I want Microsoft to make, and that's to make great games. Please make great games.
Like back in the 360 days before Connect.
Yes, I wanted to buy a 360, but the hardware was garbage. So I'm like, oh, let me buy
Yeah,
something
bro.
pro.
I sent my shit back 5 times to get repaired because of that red ring of death. But I was so invested in the platform already, like, I just sent them back and got them replaced. Um, but yeah, 5, man. And that's not even talking the controllers. Oh my days, the controllers were another one.
did you
Buttons even stopped working. Oh, buttons.
retro?
Oh, it
Did
was
you
always
have a
sticky buttons.
backup? Did you have a backup
Yes,
console for your main
yes,
console?
I did.
I know so many Xbox
I
players who
did.
had a backup, so when that one caught the red ring, hopefully their other one would be back from Microsoft to
Yeah, I
get
would
the new
literally trade
one.
in the oldest one every time to go and get like when they brought out the revisions and stuff.
Yeah, the revision.
I would literally trade in the oldest one I had towards that one, and I just did it that way. But they lied. They said the red ring never happened on the Jasper units. That's a fucking lie because I had a red Resident Evil one and it red ringed, and that
What's
was a
a
Jasper unit.
what's a
They Jasper was the second design of the
Oh,
360
okay.
basically.
Okay.
Because the problem with the original 360 was it was getting so hot, the clamp that held down the GPU would actually lift off from the board and then they would all just separate. And that's what was
The
causing,
board would warp.
yeah, yeah. And it would basically stop the contact with the GPU and the cooling.
Did you ever try the penny trick where you put four pennies down and tape them down to the GPU to remove the heat off of them?
No, I never even heard of that one.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I've
there's
heard of
there's a penny trick that you're supposed to be able to do that you could put it on the board somewhere. I don't remember where you put it. It might have been on the GPU, but you just set it on top of it and tape that shit down, and it lets that heat travel up through the copper, and it gives it an extra extension and an extra outlet to come
It
out.
definitely makes, yeah, yeah, but definitely makes sense. It would definitely transfer some heat, like, but I don't know how long that fix would last.
Oh, I don't know either. But there were, I had a friend that did it, and he said it worked. But like, I also don't know because he was always over at my house playing PlayStation because I had the PS3. I didn't get the original PS3 because I couldn't spend 700 mother loving dollars on it, and my parents definitely weren't because that's back when I was younger. And so I ended up getting the PS3, not the third generation, the second one.
Oh
The
yeah, the
one that,
first Slim.
oh God, I hated that thing. No. The first Slim didn't have the slide tray. The second Slim had the slide tray.
Yeah, the super slim.
Oh, the Super Slim. Yeah,
I
yeah.
hated the slide tray. After just sticking my video game in and letting it just like accept it, like I hated the thought of this is how bougie I got. I hated the thought of having to open a tray to put my disc in and then close the
What
tray.
am I, a savage? I gotta open the thing.
It was so bad. Like I still to this day have never owned one of those PS3 consoles. Uh, so what's up, Josh? Dude, man, I appreciate you being here. There are so many heavy hitters tonight talking. Uh, Podcast got delayed due to the holiday, so I do appreciate everybody who stopped in and said hi and left a like. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. Um, I don't know, man. When I hit 500 subs and catch that first like gift or like membership or whatever, I might just like get misty eyed on the stream because this is a passion for me. And that's you know what, we're gonna run a little late tonight. I hope that's okay with y'all. Retro, if you gotta go, I understand.
I'm
Um,
easy, man. I'm easy.
but let's go ahead and get into Final Fantasy, and then uh, there are a couple things that just like I want to talk to y'all about, just kind of more on a personal gamer level. And I sent this to Retro or to Geo, but what these questions are, and we'll discuss this after Final Fantasy, is what got you into gaming, what turned it in, what turned it from a hobby to a passion, or is it even a passion? And so we're going to kind of get into that a little bit after this because that's how I want to close. So Final Fantasy 16, absolutely, we will set the ground rules right now. Zero spoilers. I don't want names of icons that we get. I don't like just as vague as humanly possible. What are your thoughts right now on Final Fantasy 16? Geo, I'm going to start with you because you have about the same amount of time put in it as I do. We both have 37 hours. We're both 50, 60% of the way through. So what you got? What's your thoughts on Final Fantasy?
It's the best Final Fantasy game I've ever played, and I started on Final Fantasy 2 on
Bullshit.
the
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I sneezed. I
NES.
sneezed. Go ahead. Continue.
Like I said, it's the best Final Fantasy game I've ever played. I played Final Fantasy 2, I played Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy Tactics, which is a pain in the ass, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 14, and now 16.
Okay.
It's the best one.
Uh, uh, mm. So what makes it the best for you? Let me ask that.
Well, like you said, not getting into spoilers, but the story is phenomenal. The
Okay.
music is should be award winning. If this doesn't get a TGA award for music, they need to cancel that show.
I agree. But they're also going to go up against Sea of Stars, which has a composer in the same vein as this game. So, anyways, okay, cool. What is the thing that has surprised you the most about the game? Can you give that away without giving spoilers?
Yeah, I can give that away. What surprised me the most was the combat. It's so easy to get into the combat. There's a little bit of adjustment because of some of the button placement. I'm not sure if I should talk about that.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Button placement is
Okay,
fine.
yeah, it's the dodge button. It's the same complaint everyone has. It's the fucking dodge button. It takes some getting used to.
All
Once
because
you
it's
get used
not
to it,
circle.
yeah, it's not circle.
Okay.
You could make it circle.
You
You know,
you can.
I've seen people make it circle, but
And they also
I'm a
just released the
hard-headed and I'm
patch
stubborn.
that
They
allowed
did just release
for
the patch.
3 other controller styles. So,
I haven't even looked at that.
bro, I as soon as it was downloading, I was googling the patch and seeing what all they fixed, and I found it. And it's so here's what they fixed. And then retro, I haven't forgot about you. I'm still gonna come back to you. Give me a sec. Uh, so here's what this says. We have added a motion blur slider. Thank God. Uh,
But
a setting for a camera that will automatically follow the player. This is set to off. You have to turn it on. And then 4 brand new button layouts on controllers. We're happy to add. Uh, we allow you to adjust the strength. It's a maximum of 5. 0 is completely off, which it's actually not completely off, but Square Enix is Square Enix. They changed the maximum setting of camera sensitivity. They add 3 new controller layouts, D, E, and F, corrects an issue that affected stability in menus, corrected some text, and adds the hashtag FF16 when sharing screenshots or videos to Twitter or YouTube because it's a PlayStation game and we still get to do that. And so, yeah, F Xbox and not being able to share to Twitter. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, that's
they didn't
retarded.
pay for the Twitter API.
That
Is that shit still
is.
broke?
It's still broke. Yeah,
Yeah,
they can't do it. And Microsoft has said they're not going to fix it. They're not going to pay Twitter money to do that.
it's done. It's done on the Xbox. It's done.
Yeah. And so that's so tonight when Gio and I were setting up and I was talking to him. And by the way, man, thanks for coming on at like short notice, dude. Like Toolman had a family issue that he had to go handle, so he wasn't able to come. So I really appreciate you stopping and saying, "Yeah, man, I can come on. I have the time tonight." So that was really cool. And then Retro, I appreciate you stopping by. That's awesome. I've been wanting when Iga was on Doomsayers, which I need to get back on that show, but I'll have to wait until my work slows down. But when I was on Doomsayer, I was really looking forward to talking to you because I'd been following you on Twitter, and it ended up that that was one night that you weren't on there, and I was like, well, shit. Okay, fine.
Yeah. Sometimes work's just too hectic for me to be having a headset and trying to concentrate on a comment. You know, I can't commit properly, so I don't like to I just like to let him get on with the show, you know, because it just messes with the flow and stuff, especially if you've got a lot of noise in the background from me, you know.
Well, and especially the way that him and Wise have that set up to where they like have certain people that are going to cover certain topics. If you get slammed at work and can't hop on to cover your topic, like that does disrupt the flow. So I get it, but it was super fun. And so I just appreciate y'all stopping in. That's really cool. And I keep trying to get Josh
Anytime,
on
man.
here,
Thanks for
but
having me.
Josh listens to us at work, so he can't come on. I've already tried. Um, but so, Retro, what are your thoughts? Final Fantasy, what you got?
I'm loving it so far. I'm about 35 hours into it now. So you know the fight I've kind of just finished off and stuff like that, you know.
The second one?
Really, no, I can't say. I want to say the name, but
Um,
yeah,
are you fighting the bald white guy, or were you fighting the dragon?
Dragon.
Dragon. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So I know exactly where you're at now. Awesome.
So now I'm not the biggest fan of Final Fantasy. I do not like turn-based games.
That hurts my soul a little
So
bit, but
I
we'll
know a
allow it.
lot of, I get stick for it all the time, but it's just something I've never enjoyed. I prefer kind of direct combat like Final Fantasy 16 is. So I can't make a claim that it's the best Final Fantasy or anything like that because I am not a typical Final Fantasy fan. So I've always appreciated the series and understood why people loved it. But just like I said, the turn-based combat and stuff kind of put me off.
Okay.
But I'm in love with this game. The production values, the storyline, the characters. The fighting, the icon fighting is just mind blowing. Um, so yeah, really, really enjoying it. Like I say, can't claim it's the best Final Fantasy because I haven't played enough of the series to have enough. Um, yeah, to have enough info on all the games to be able to say which is the best. But I'm enjoying this one. Um, I can't wait to finish the story to see how it all ends up.
So,
Yeah, I've really enjoyed my time with it.
what's your favorite thing about this game? Like, what's the thing that kind of set it off for you?
The
What do you
the
love?
icons, the
The icons.
icons.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely my favorite part of it. And I like the fact that it's so involved in the overall story and stuff, you know, it's like a central pillar.
Yeah, it really is. Like it's the so I'll give my thoughts now because this is I have played a shit ton of this game. Which for me playing, almost 40 hours in a game is me playing a shit ton. That's more than I spend with most games because I just don't have time. And so this is oh my god, the motion. I'm sorry, I'm playing a little fight right now so people can have something to look at. And literally, the motion blur being off is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like, it's phenomenal. Everything is clean. The frame rates don't judder. There's no problems. Okay, anyways, so my favorite thing about this game is uh, definitely the pacing of the story. Like, the story has such a good pace to it, and the gameplay has such a good, like, they never let you get bogged down, right? They never let you kind of die and get to the point where you're like, man, there's just, it's boring. There's not enough stuff to do. It needs to be faster. There needs to be something going on. I'm just slogging through to the next thing. Like, when you get done with the main story arc, it'll take you back to your home base, which they've already mentioned before. They have like a home base that they deal with. And yeah, actually, Retro, what he is saying about Strangers of Paradise, you would probably love. I can't stand the game, but it's because it's a Souls-like, and I absolutely suck at those. So you would probably like it. Um,
Here's another fact. I don't like Souls games very much.
I don't either. I don't like games that can
Me
kick my
neither.
ass.
See games, see games where I get frustrated and start swearing and shit. That's when I know
It's an
it's not
hour
worth it, man.
dedicated to playing a game, man.
Yeah, I just want to play and stab stuff. I don't want to be stabbed repeatedly myself. That's not the
Just
way these things are supposed to go.
I just want to play and stab stuff, right? Salty doesn't like he loves Souls games, and I'm like,
Is it
yeah.
real Souls like or is it a bit more mellow than them?
No, it's a lot easier, and it has a slider where you can adjust the difficulty, and so like
Oh shit, yeah, I'll give it a go then.
it's a Souls game made for people who don't like Souls games. Like
Yeah, that might work out well for me then.
and that's so what I'm going to say about Final Fantasy. The pacing of it is so good. You do a story beat or a story arc, and then the map kind of opens up again. And you can go wherever the heck you want. You can go back and grind in places, which I think that's what was lacking in Final Fantasy 15 or 7 remake was that there was no real like you couldn't really grind your character. You couldn't get those. You couldn't like grind your levels or anything like that. And in this one, you can, and you can explore these big open sections, and you can do all of this. And then, after you're done, you go complete 1 to 2 little side quests, build up your renown so people like you more and give you more shit. That's essentially what the renown does. And you can go collect things, you can do your hunts, but at a certain point, it stops and it doesn't let you do any more hunts and there's no more side quests. And so it pushes you towards the main story. And then you just repeat that cycle. And so there's never been a night where I'm like, man, all I did was walk across an entire mother loving map and I didn't get anything accomplished because I was getting this one item. Like, it's made for the 25 to 35-year-old who buys these games and doesn't have a crap ton of time. It's made to be able to feel accomplished playing it for 2 to 3 hours and you feel like you did stuff. Like, I completed two main story missions last night, and I think I played for like an hour and a half, and I did all the side quests and the hunts in between. And so I think that's one of the things that the game does very well. One of the other things they do super well is they give you the ability uh, to know as much or as little of the story as you want. Like, you have the Tomes guy that you can go to. He's in your home base. You can go to Tomes and he kind of has all the shit that you've seen up to this point recorded for you. So even if you miss the active time lore stuff, you can still go and find out all of this information. Really awesome. But then later on in the game, you get another person who does like a full timeline thing that explains what's happened in each little section of the game that you played at this point. And
Oh,
that,
Vivian.
oh my God, dude, I spend so much time at her thing, like just reading all the little things, who's deceased, because she has two sets that she does. One shows like just the timeline of overall like wars and battles and rules change and stuff like that. And then you see the other that's like a family tree almost, but it's more connected by allies and regions. And like as the story progresses, you see Clives extending out even further and other people shrinking and you're like, dude, this is freaking, I'm building a massive army in the background and this feels amazing. Like, it's just one of those things that they added to the game that I'm like, I freaking love this. And let's be honest, if it's between Jill and Vivian, a lot of dudes would choose Vivian. I'm just saying. Not because
I
of
mean, why
anything.
not both?
Stop it. That's we stop it. But like, she just has that aura about her that she is a really well written and well liked character. Like, I think somebody just pointed out Souls games very easy. Yeah, Josh just said she's really cool or she's cool. Because she is. She gives off that vibe of like one of the dudes, right? But there's that. There's the hunts. There's the prestige. There's so much stuff in this game, and I absolutely love that it never feels like there's a lot of stuff in the game. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like, it doesn't.
you never overwhelmed.
Right, right. Like, I did a hunt the other day, and it was the second time I died ever, and it's because I went against one that was 4 levels higher than me. So what did I do? I traveled back to one of the big areas and I went and killed some shit. And I leveled up a bit and then I went and fought the thing and then I killed it. But like, it's really cool because in Final Fantasy VII Remake, you were never there was never a moment where I felt under leveled or like it was a struggle. Final Fantasy 16, if you go into some of these hunts thinking, "Oh, they're just 3 levels above me. That's no big deal. I'm level 28, they're level 31. This will be fine." No. That you need to pay attention because that level, unless you are really good at evasion, which I am not, you're gonna die. And so I really enjoy those aspects of the game. And that's not to say the story, the sound, all of that. I feel like I wanted to go a bit more nuanced than the stuff that I expect. Like, I expect a great story from a Final Fantasy game. I expect the sound to be top notch, Grammy winning, like amazing sound. What I don't always expect is the pacing of their games to be good. I'll never forget Final Fantasy X when everything opens up and it's after I think your first or second battle with Sin, and everything opens up, and the game like hits the brakes on what you're doing, like because everything opened up to you. You can literally go anywhere you want, and it just feels like, okay, well, does the game want me to explore, or does the game want me to continue the story? Well, it's your choice. Well, I kind of like a game to hold my hand right now because the last four games I've played have been open world RPGs and I'm tired. I just I just want to play something that I can come in and do the things and get off and have a great time. And so I think all that's my stuff that they've done super well. Where they've done bad. Geo, do you have anything they did bad on?
Ooh, some of the side quests, especially the early ones, are boring. Very boring and
Boring
tedious.
AF. Yes.
Uh, bad. I mean, I wouldn't say outright bad. The motion blur stuff was nauseous at first.
We can't count that anymore. They took it out.
Yeah, I know, but that was just today.
That's true.
It literally just happened.
Okay. Uh,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's the side
it's just a
quests
side
were
quest.
really tedious.
Okay. So a few of the side quests were fetch quest. Got it. Retro, what you got? What negatives do you have?
Uh, well, I'm with Gio on the side quests. The early ones are terrible. Um, Also, some of the way they've got some of the cutscenes and stuff structured, where you're literally done watching a cutscene and then you walk for 2 seconds and then they throw you into another cutscene. I hate that shit, and they do it a bit too much. But other than that, loving it.
Okay, so I agree with both of y'all. Some of the early side quests were like, really? I got to deliver food to people at their tables? What?
Yeah, I
WTF,
know
people?
way a bitch. You see the sword?
Yeah,
Can I deliver them with my sword? Like, can I use my
Yeah.
icon ability that I
Can I
have right
stab it
now?
through him? Can I stab him and then put the food in his hole?
Can,
the one that gets me is the guy that wanted planks of wood, and I'm just like,
yes.
are you fucking serious?
Just
And
literally down the road there, mate. Go get them yourself. You lazy
so
bastard.
that's what got me the most is in your first little like camp section. The side quests were like, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And I'm sitting here going, "Dog, I've watched you stand here for the last hour and a half, and you ain't done shit. Why, why do I got to do this?" Or the one with the wood, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. They're gonna go send me to fight a monster, and that monster, its vines are gonna be the
It's
wood that it
literally across
needs,
the room.
and it's literally across the fucking room." I'm like,
And you're
wait,
Yeah.
like, I can't leave here. I'll get yelled at.
like, wait a minute.
It's literally down a lift.
It really is. It's just right there. And so some of those make me cringe, but then I got to one. Okay, we're still on negative. No, I want to say this though. I got to one that literally had me so like have y'all played The Witcher 3?
Kind of. Off and on.
Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. There's a quest line in there called the Bloody Baron. It is it is the side quest that I measure every other game side quest against. It is the best side quest in any video game ever, point blank, period. It's halfway through the game and it is phenomenal. And that side quest makes you want to kill every single person involved in it except the daughter and the wife. And you end up, I believe you end up killing the Bloody Baron, or it gives you the choice to kill him. I kill him. And so it is so good. So there was one side quest that, and then there were several more after that. But the one side quest that I was like, oh, stuff just got real, was when mm, the whole thing deals with slavery. I don't think anybody who's been on Twitter at all is going to be shocked by that. There's been a ton of stuff talked about it. the game deals with slavery, and there's somebody who is taking slaves and sending them to fight wolves so his son can be entertained by the slave dying.
Oh, shit, I remember that.
If I
Yeah,
can
I've seen that.
say a couple things on this, one, I'm so happy they didn't have black people in this game. Lord Jesus, could you imagine
Yeah.
the fallout from this shit if there were black people in this video game who
Well, there were
were
people screaming for black people to be in the game, and now they're like, oh, we get it now.
and now they're like, oh wait, you were in a lose-lose situation. Never mind, this makes total sense. Got it. Okay, cool.
Literally,
Yeah.
me and Opie had the discussion on launch day. We're like, you know what? As we were playing through, we were like, because I said to him, I said, Opie, I can kind of see why they didn't have any black people in this. I said, can you imagine a black character being treated like that? There would be uproar.
Same, dude. And
Like, it would literally, it just wouldn't be worth it. So I understand it. They've just made everybody the same race from the
And
same place.
well, what's funny is some of the merchants later on that you find out in like the open world, not like the main NPCs, but some of like the side NPCs that you can't like really talk to or anything, they are of a darker complexion. And
Yes, I've
so,
noticed the characters from more the deserty area seem to be
yes,
darker
yes,
skinned.
yes, they are. And so I was like, okay, that's cool. And none of them are slaves. We are fantastic. This is awesome. Like I
they
can,
even mentioned that they're a free kingdom.
yes, they are a free kingdom. You damn straight they are. So that's one of the things. Uh, shit. Yeah. So the side quests do get better, but that side quest in particular literally made me hope for an option to treat him like the Bloody Baron and just absolutely just wreck the shit out of him. And I'm not going to spoil the side quest for what happens, but it's well worth it and it's fun and it's awesome and it put a smile on my face after it. But there's so many others like that you're shopping and you hear people talking about brandeds and it just feeds into all of these side quests like, hey, can you go do this for me? I can't do this because they're not going to sell anything to me. I need you to go purchase this. Like, it's such a good narrative when the side quests get going. Now, I did just do one last night that was like, hey, I need ingredients. Go find them. Well, shit. Okay, cool. I got to go kill something. But, so the side quests do get better. Uh, oh, Toolman. Oh, Toolman. That is so awesome. I wish you wouldn't have said. You didn't say much, so I appreciate that. Uh, but he is about to leave the hideout after finishing the Benedicta Ultimate Form battle. Awesome. We're not going to say anything else about that, but that's cool.
Enjoy, cool man.
Yeah,
Enjoy.
Yeah,
just
keep going,
enjoy.
bro.
It is such a fucking wild ride. So here's the things I don't like. I don't like that the RPG elements are almost non-existent. There's a few that are decently fleshed out, like the ability point system and how you can purchase different abilities and upgrade them and all that. That's cool. But the item system, I have never once looked at what an item can do. I just look at the numbers. If it's red, I don't get it. If it's green, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
that's it. And so the item system is a little shitty. The fact that you have an up or a crafting system and an item system, I don't like that the weapons I can get from crafting are the same weapons I can buy from a shop. I feel like the crafting weapons should be better. They should be something that like you actually have to work and strive for and try to get and all. And so far, 50% of the way through the game, everything I've gotten from crafting up to this point, even oh, excuse me. Oh shit, it's past 11. That's why. Oh lord. The I don't know how Retro is still awake. I'd have passed out on my ass a long time ago. Uh, like I just got to a
That's just
point where he
awesome.
crafts like this special weapon for me, which is kind of cool. But like outside of that, I haven't ran across a lot of stuff that I can't just purchase. Also, the item section bothers me. This is a Final Fantasy game through and through. That's not what we're arguing about tonight. But I want my damn Echo screen. I want my soft. I want my Phoenix down. I want my Mega Elixirs. I want all of the shit that makes a Final Fantasy item screen a Final Fantasy item screen. Like, know that sounds weird because I am a old school fan of Final Fantasy. I've played 7, 8, 9, 10, 10-2, 13. I didn't play 13-2 because I played 13. I played a few hours of Lightning Returns. I played a few hours of 14. I've played 15, and now I've played 16. And right, Josh just even pointed out that even the high potions that used to be just HI potions are called high potions with the correct spelling. Kiss my rear end. Like, there are certain things that I expect from a Final Fantasy game, and I expect those items. Antidote to cure poison, soft to cure petrify, echo screen to cure darkness. Like, I expect those status effects, and we don't get a lot of any status effects in this game. There's no way to poison somebody. There's no extra additional ticker or counter or timer or whatnot that shows that they have burn damage or ice damage or lightning damage or damage or whatever. Like, there's nothing like that. So I feel like some of the things that they've had in all of the older games didn't make it to this one, and that kind of makes me a little sad. Uh, oh, Josh said he's had burn damage. Interesting. That must be on one of the like tickers that come up that say, "Hey, this is burn damage." That's cool. I didn't know that. I haven't seen it yet, but that's really cool. But like the other things that I didn't like about the game, or that I don't like about the game, they've just now fixed. Like the motion blur, and it was my theory from the very beginning of this shit. The motion blur is what was making the frame rate so shitty, or at least it was exaggerating how bad it was. Because the first thing I did was I loaded up the game and turned motion blur from 5 to 0, and the game moves smooth as butter. It doesn't look glitchy. It doesn't look hiccupy. The hair strands look normal. They don't have that little halo glow to them. And not Halo Infinite. I mean, like, just that hero glow that they call it, where like the outside rim of the top of the hero's head looks shiny for some reason. Um, the game did that really bad with a few NPCs, but now that motion blur isn't there, that's not a problem. Everything looks crisp and clean and absolutely perfect. So they have removed my biggest complaint about this game, which was the motion blur. And I think I did all of that without giving away a spoiler. That's pretty fucking impressive. Like, that's the only thing I mentioned was that one side quest, and I didn't really mention like,
That's not even a spoiler.
right, that's not even a spoiler. Like, it's just a side quest, and I didn't mention names. I didn't mention where you found it. I didn't mention what happened, and I didn't mention what the slaves are called. I just used the generic term of slaves. So, you know what? I don't feel like I spoiled anything, and I talked about that for 5 minutes straight. Sorry about that, guys. Like I said, I'm working on a video right now, and it's going to be long form, and Josh just said you walk into that side quest on the road that you have to walk on.
That's true.
Just walking
um,
around.
so this is going to carry me in because this is a lot. This is a very linear game. There are a few open sections, but it's linear. Like I've not had to look up a guide at all to know where anything's at, because it's linear. And so I was on. I wasn't on the show, but I was in the chat of Reforges the other day, and they were talking about Final Fantasy 16. And I had pointed out that it's kind of refreshing to not have to worry about an open world, massively explorable game that I have to spend 300 hours on just to get everything out of. And so I'm going to pose the question to both of y'all. Are open world games becoming too frequent in this marketplace? And should we have more games like a God of War Ragnarok or a Final Fantasy XVI that have a big old freaking map and you can go anywhere on the map, but those sections are broken down into very linear, like linear open sections, if that makes sense?
Yeah,
Not
no,
everybody all
I
at once.
understand. So
I was waiting for retro.
I
I was
believe
really waiting for retro.
I appreciate that. I believe that there was definitely like a concentrated effort by devs over the last, I don't know, 10 and a half, where if it wasn't open world, it wasn't going to sell, that kind of thing, you know? They all seem to be making a push towards it. Um, but they were just making them more and more bloated. There wasn't a reason really for these big, massive maps. They were just doing it to be able to say they had this big, massive map. Because even stuff like the Crew 2 had so much that I don't think I'm ever going to be able to see all the roads because there's that much. Um, but yeah, I do believe that there's been too many, and we need more linear games again, man. There's not enough. I actually prefer the open hub worlds. You know, where you would have one, you'd visit one area. It would be open, but it wouldn't be massive. And then you'd have another, like God of War and stuff. That's the type of game I want to see where the more open but linear at the same. You know what I mean? Like The Last of Us, stuff like that, where you've got areas you can explore and find loot and stuff, but there's still kind of one direction to go, and you're not being bombarded with just loads of stupid side quests like let's go catch these flags or go to the top of this building and hit triangle or I think a lot of them are just filled with needless, pointless tasks, and we need to get away from that a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it was a huge refresher to me to look
Yeah.
at this game. And Geo, you mentioned that you played Final Fantasy X. This game, the way the levels are set up, reminds me of Final Fantasy X.
It does. Yeah, it's a much bigger scale here than 10 was, but
So, what's your thoughts? Are open world games uh, are they too frequent now?
I mean, in a way, yeah. I mean, I played Hogwarts Legacy back in January, and that's a massive freaking map of a game, and that's good for maybe at once every 2 years, maybe 3 years, have a game like that. But this constant open world game every year, sometimes even twice a year, is just getting too much. It's like the 360 days with the shooters, where every game had to be a shooter.
Uh, did we all drop out? Did I drop out? Did you drop out?
I'm still here.
Oh, sorry, that was me. That was my bad. I had it muted because I was eating a piece of cheese. My bad. I thought I
Cheese
unmuted.
bad for you before bedtime. You'll have nightmares.
He's a mouse.
I am a mouse. Um, it was just what was in the fridge. Screw y'all. Like, it's just what was
I've
available.
done. Hey, no judgment. I've done it too. So.
Like my kids have string cheese for their lunches at summer camp, and so Daddy has string cheese at night. That's how this works. But
Yeah, you
so
snooze, you lose.
open world games, I have beat probably not including some of your older Final Fantasies, but like since the PS4, I think I've beaten 4 or 5 open world games, and that's it. Every other game could either be considered wide linear or straight linear. Like, and so I just beat Hogwarts back in March, I think is when I finally beat it. I got it in February when it released, but I think I beat it in March. And I did Far Cry 3 that I beat undoubtedly. Assassin's Creed Origins, because that freaking setting was amazing. Uh, and they had a lot of real world stuff in that. So I felt like they were going to go back to the more Desmond type. They didn't. Excuse me. And so I think that's
Sorry to
it,
butt in.
though.
I've got a question. Did anybody else think we were going to get a modern day Final Fantasy with Desmond as the assassin? Because I always thought that was the way it was going to go, that we were going to get a modern day city to run around in as Desmond.
You mean a
And then
modern
they
day
killed him off?
Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, as in an Assassin's Creed, but you know, it was with Desmond during the modern days. I
Yes.
always, I always thought we were going to get like a proper game based on that, and we never did. They just
We
killed him off
never did.
instead and said, "Oh, he's not that important." It's like
I
what?
believe the whole point was that he was learning from his past history
Facts.
and training
Uh
Because
huh.
you'd get those little sections, and he'd be doing his tricks and learning his moves, but then it just they killed him off and said, "Oh yeah, he's not actually that important to the story. It's all right."
And then get this: you build up the um, oh, not the Montessori. That's the wrong word for it. But you build up that area through Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations,
Yeah.
and nothing happens.
Yeah, it's just like, oh no, because I always wanted one. I wanted a modern city to run around in, basically.
Yeah, but then who's
Could
your
you
big
imagine
bad?
jumping off a modern building into a haystack?
Could still be the Templars, couldn't it?
No, did you just use garbages like garbage cans?
Hey, garbage. Yeah, there you go. Dumpster.
Like, I mean, I've already thought about this. Like, you're an assassin going up against the Templars. The Templars have guns, and all you have is your dagger and a mother loving sword, and you're fighting the. Yes! Josh just hit it on the head. You're fighting the. I was just going to say Abstergo, but you're going against the Templars, and you have to invade them, and it's a stealth game that I actually would have played because I hate stealth titles. But, like, that would have been so awesome. And that's what they were gearing up for. And then they're like, oh, wait, we can milk this franchise. Let's do it. And then we got
After
like,
in interviews saying they weren't going to milk it, by the way.
We're gonna do pirates.
listen,
Although that was my favorite, Black Flag.
Yeah, Black Flag was a good game, but
Oh,
boo.
that's my favorite. Personally, my favorite one.
Was that the one with
Singing them
Conroy?
sea shanties.
Or was that the one with the Chenaway?
I think that was the follow on to that, wasn't it, or the DLC or something?
Okay, or Hathaway, or
Oh, what?
shoot, what was his name? Because there's two that I get confused. I get the Black Flag one, and then I get that confused with the one where
I
you're
believe
kind of
Connor is Black Flag, isn't he?
Connor.
I think so. I can't. Fuck. There's so many. I can't remember no more.
Okay, here we go. 4 is thanks, Josh.
Connor is 3.
Connor is 3.
Josh is keeping us right. Edward
Okay,
Kenway. That's yeah.
so Connor was 3, and that was that the Indian?
Yes, that's right. Because you had your axe and stuff, didn't you?
Yep, yep, and yep. And then Black Flag was when they killed Desmond. And that's all
Yeah,
that
if
mattered after
ironically,
that.
that's my favorite one, isn't it?
It's the one I hate for that reason. And I didn't like the ship combats.
I
I didn't
loved
like
it.
it.
I loved the whole ship thing, man. I was a proper pirate, mate. I was well in there. I was singing the shanties along with my crew, man.
Oh, he said 3 they killed Desmond. That's why I didn't like 4 then. Because I didn't want to play. I did play it, but I didn't want to play uh, as not Desmond, because to me that was the heart and the soul of the series. That was the story of the series. That was the mystery and intrigue. That is another thing that I think Final Fantasy 16 does really well. Is I don't know how the hell this shit's going to turn out.
yeah,
Same.
yeah.
This can go anywhere.
Like, you play games sometimes, and Lono was mentioning it yesterday, and he was like, "You play games sometimes," or maybe it was today, where you're like, "I can see the video game in the game, and it kind of breaks the immersion a bit." Where you're like, I know I'm playing a video game right now." And like you can see the tropes, and I do this with movies too. If I'm watching a movie and I'm like, "Oh man, I know what they're about to do," and if they do it, it kills the movie for me. But if they do something completely different, I'm like, "Oh shoot, that's super cool." And this game has done that. Final Fantasy 16 has done that to me so many times in just the first 37 hours that I'm sitting here like, okay, I have no idea what's going to happen. None. The people who I thought were going to die are still alive. The people who I thought were going to live are dead. I don't know what to do here. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how it's going to play out. And that has me coming back to it more than anything else in the game. It's literally a how is this going to work? Like, how are they going to tie all of this up into a beautiful package and say, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Here's your gift. And I don't know how that's going to work in this, but open world games to me are they're for the college student or the high school student. They're for the person that doesn't have a job. Like that's how
So
it
for
feels to
bombs,
me
is
now.
that what you're saying? That's
Do
what you're
what?
saying. They're for bombs.
Bum.
Bum.
Yeah,
Bombs.
sure. Bums. Yes. Yes. Or children who have their parents who pay for everything. Dude, speaking of that, I'm a dad, and this is part of the show that I like to get into sometimes is just the real world of gaming. Um my son came out tonight with his Nintendo Switch, and I pay for the little Nintendo Switch online. I don't pay for the premium package because I'm not that person. But I spend $8 every 3 months, and that little dude gets to play all the old Super Nintendo and Nintendo games. He came out of his room today with his Switch in hand going, Dad, 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 guess what? I was like, What, dude? He was like, I just beat the first level of Mario 3 without dying, and I was still Big Mario at the end. And I'm sitting here and I'm just proud as heck. I'm like, dude, that's so freaking cool. Cause like that's how I got my start was you die a shit ton in the first few levels of the original Mario, and you just keep trying, and the satisfaction of lowering that stupid flag made you feel so good as a kid. And so, like, that's a side note, but I absolutely love that I get to share those gaming moments with my own children. And I don't know if y'all have kids, but I hope that y'all are able to do that as well
Or
because it's so fun. Um, so that's my thought on open world games. I think they're killing, like, they're, they kill my drive for gaming, to be quite honest, when I'm like, oh, there's going to be an open world with 400 places that you can go and over 300 hours of content. Why am I going to buy your game? Like, all you told me is that I'm just going to be exhausted after playing. Like, that's it. I'm going to be exhausted. And so guys, that's the show. I do want to end with these last questions. So, Geo, we will start with you. What got you into gaming, and what turned it, if it did, if it is a passion now, what turned it from a hobby to a passion? Kind of, what was that one game that made it all click for you?
Well, I'll start with what got me into gaming was my best friend at the time had an Atari, and he just invited me over. Said, "Hey, let's play some it was combat for the tanks and airplanes and stuff." So we sat down to play that. We played that for like 3 or 4 hours across the screen. That got me into gaming. What made it a passion for me was when Super Nintendo came out and Super Mario World came out and Super Metroid came out. And I'm like, I have to buy all this. Like, Dad, I need money. Like, what can I do for money? Like, mow the lawn. Okay, I'll mow the lawn. Get me the game.
Whatever I have to do.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever I have to do. If I have to sell ice cream on the street corner, I'll sell ice cream on the street corner. I don't care. But yeah, I've been buying games and collecting games and buying systems, and I still have a lot of my old systems still here, so it's definitely a passion.
That's awesome. Retro, what about you?
It was my dad. He bought me an Atari 2600 when I was properly young. So stuff like Outlaw and stuff like that were the first games I really played. But it wasn't until the Mega Drive, or was it the Master System? Master System was first, wasn't it? That was the 8-bit one.
Yeah, Master System.
Alex the Kid.
Alex the
I,
Kid.
yeah, bro. I could not stop playing. See, as soon as I got the bike, that was me, man. I was just, I don't know. Back then, it just blew my little mind. And I just knew that I wanted to play more stuff like that. And then, obviously it went to the stuff like Streets of Rage, what else? Robocop versus Terminator. There's so many I could name, but the one I remember kind of switching that light on was Alex the Kid.
And Alex the Kid was a Sega exclusive, wasn't it?
It actually came built into the Master System.
Oh, that's so cool. I knew it was exclusive to Sega.
There was also a cool game. They released it on the carts because originally the Mega Drive, sorry, Master System, had two slots. So it had the cartridge slot, but it also had like a card slot, and you could buy these games on cards. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and it was basically your girlfriend got kidnapped, and you had to go and kick ass to go and get her back.
It sounds like Double Dragon, but so many of those games
That
have
sounds like
been.
Final Fight.
I can't remember, but it was on the Master System.
So
I just can't remember the name of it.
what's really funny is, what what Gio just pointed out is most of those games start out with your girlfriend or love interest or some female getting abducted and you have to go save her. Like,
Yeah, even Mario deals with that shit, man.
One of the most brutal things I've ever seen as a child was when you played Double Dragon and the very beginning they gut punch your girlfriend and just carry her off with her name
bro,
flashing on the screen. And you're like, what the hell?
right? Like, holy crap.
Just walk out and bang.
So, what really got me into gaming, and this answer changes so many times because I've been gaming for so freaking long. But, like, what really got me into it was Mike Tyson Punch Out, Tecmo Super Bowl. That's what I remember playing, like, on the NES and on the Super Nintendo. I didn't really play a lot of JRPGs back then because I didn't know about them. Like, everything was Mario or or a couple of these other, like the hockey game, or and I just say it's hockey game. It was kind of, I think it was called ice hockey. You had three players. One was a fat dude, one was a skinny dude, and one was a middle dude. And Like the skinny dude was super fast, the fat guy could hit really hard, and the middle guy was kind of a blend between the two. And I remember that game, but Mike Tyson Punch Out, dude, my brother and I would sit and play that for hours. We would also play Tecmo Bowl, and he was such a nerd. I hope one day he watches my videos, but he was such a nerd that he would have like stat sheets that he would record, like what the players did in each game, and he would like tally up what the other team's players did in each game, and like keep standings and records and all of this crap. Like he was a huge nerd. Uh, but he had such fun with that. And I remember playing that, Super Mario, and then the Super Nintendo came out, and that's when you got a lot of your Disney games, which Lion King was the first Souls like game, period, point blank, stop.
It's true.
I didn't get past like the second stage. Like it just I didn't. Um
If we're being honest, the first Souls game was Ghouls and Ghosts.
well sure.
That
Sure.
game is the hard.
But like you have I have such a big history. Like as I even as I'm talking right now, like Bad Dudes was such a fun game. It was awesome, and the different levels you went to, it had different biomes and settings, and one was like a forest level, one was a desert level, one was it was so well done. And then of course Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. But all of these things, it was still just a hobby. It was something I did as a kid sometimes when it was raining on the weekends. I'd go inside and I'd play Nintendo. And then the PlayStation came out, and I only knew that I had to have the PlayStation. I had to. There was the N64 did not do it for me. I didn't like it, and this company was coming out saying we're going to put it on CDs. Oh, oh really? Some of our games are 4 disc. Oh, you don't say.
Oh,
Okay. And so, oh, also it can play DVDs too. No.
not the original PlayStation.
No, but the PS2 could.
Yeah, the PS2.
Actually, no, the I'm sorry, the original PlayStation could play audio CDs.
Yep.
And so, like, I'm sitting here, oh, this is really cool. And you have all your stuff saved to a memory card. And mind you, as a person who had lost all their information in Zelda Link to a Past more times than I care to count, I was like, dude, I can't wait. This is going to be fantastic because now I have a memory card that's never going to get wiped, and I can label it and save it, and I can buy other memory cards for all of my games, and all of my save data is going to be cataloged, and it's fantastic. And then I found out that those can still get corrupted, and I was heartbroken about 3 years into the damn generation. But because I lost a lot of Final Fantasy data, which that hurt
But
a
then you learned of Pro Action Replay, and you could cheat your way to events.
And so, like, what really turned me, and what turned this into a passion for me, wasn't even Final Fantasy VII. It was really Final Fantasy X. That's what really dove me into like the inner workings. I was reading articles on Square, SquareSoft, and when the merger happened, I was actually kind of like, I was 13, 14 years old. I was like still in the position of being like, holy crap, what does this mean? Does this mean all of my games that I love are gone? Is this? Like I was literally freaking out as a kid. My 11th grade English paper for like the final paper of the year that we had to write was based off of Japanese anime and its influence in America, and a lot of my quotes in that paper were from the back interviews of my Prima guides or my Brady Games guides, where they interviewed the developers of these games, talking about the new office that was just opened, and that's like when I really dove in. And so I was probably 16 years old, 15, 16, and I had like dove headfirst into gaming, into that culture. I accepted it, and I have never looked back ever since. And I've always been PlayStation. I've never owned an Xbox. Up until a few months ago, I have never even had a Game Pass subscription, but I wanted to play Final Fantasy 13 and give it a fair shot, and the only place you can play it right now is on Xbox, unless you have a PS3. And so I went ahead and I got it, and I got Game Pass for my mobile device, and you can't play Final Fantasy on the mobile device. So it was a free subscription that I ended, and I still have never paid for Game Pass. So there's that. But guys, I appreciate y'all sharing that with me. Do y'all have gamers as children, or do your kids not care about gaming?
3 out of the 4.
3 out of the 4.
Yes.
What what about you?
I've got
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Retro. Sorry.
I was just gonna say I've got 2 girls and 2 boys. The oldest boy plays, oldest girl doesn't, and then the other two do.
what's wrong with her.
Um,
She has
she
a
just
life.
left. I mean, she kind of jumps on Call of Duty and stuff with her boyfriend, but she doesn't really.
Oh, she's old enough to have a boyfriend. Got it. That'll do
Oh,
it.
I've got a 22-year-old. She's 20. I've got a 22-year-old's my oldest, bro.
Oh, Lord help. How old are you, Retro?
37.
37.
He just started out in the Atari 2600.
I let it go. I let it go. I didn't even mess with the Atari 2600. Did you say you're 37?
37, man.
37. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm getting old.
They start super early over in the UK, I guess. Lord Jesus. How old are you really?
37. I'm not joking.
You did you inherit two children? Is
I
that
did.
How old is
I
your oldest
did. You're the
child?
first person to guess right.
okay?
My
It's
my wife's 7. My wife's like 6, 7 years older than me, man.
I
The
got
two
it.
oldest,
Okay.
two oldest she had when I met her. I brought them up. So
Uh,
you know,
dude, I'm sitting here going, there ain't no way that this works mathematically speaking.
That math ain't working out. Like, you had a kid at 10 years old?
Bro, the math ain't mathin'. There's something wrong here. Um, what
yeah, no,
about
I
you?
do like throwing that out because it does throw people off, man. Something shocking.
That's great. Because I'm sitting over here doing quick math. Like, he'd have had to have been 15. Is that right?
Well,
No.
the 22-year-old boy Curtis, I got with his mom when he was 5. So from he was 5,
Okay.
I've raised him. Same as his
Dang.
sister, she was 3.
That's cool.
So I raised a pair of them, and then we had a couple more.
That's what's up. Why not? Just keep adding. Oh
Yeah, man.
man. What about you, Gio? You got any kids that play games?
No kids. I have a younger brother who's a big PC gamer and a younger sister who's just starting to get interested in it.
Okay, okay. So now when you say PC gamer, does that mean he only plays like Valorant?
I don't know, but he's a big Genshin Impact fan. He's been playing a lot of different RPGs that I haven't even heard of.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so that is the end of the show. Guys, I appreciate y'all coming on. Retro, thanks for putting your money where your mouth was, so to speak. And
Anytime,
coming
man.
on
Anytime.
and chopping this up. That was super fun. I tried to get social on, but he had to work today. And plus, I messaged him like 2 hours before the show. But, anyways, guys, thank y'all for stopping by. Gio, where can folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Geo Knows Best and YouTube Geo Knows Gaming.
Okay, okay. We don't know if any of those are true, but that's where you can find him. And I'm just kidding. I'm just picking. Retro, where can they find you, man?
Yeah, if you're looking, XTSX Retro. My gamer tags are in my bio and stuff, so either way.
Awesome, guys. Thanks again for stopping by, and y'all both are welcome literally anytime y'all want to do this. And this has been the longest stream ever. So I appreciate that, guys. It's exactly what I thought. When you have 3 people, or when you have more than two, your streams go forever. That's why I like Doomsayer. I don't know how they get all their crap done in 2 hours. Like, kudos to those guys, but if I had a panel that was 6 people deep, we would never get anything accomplished ever. Like it just wouldn't get done. But thank y'all for stopping by, guys. On your way out of here, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new. We picked up a couple subscribers tonight. I am through the moon about that. Um, and so, yeah, guys, I appreciate y'all stopping in. It's been chat. Y'all were on fire tonight. The whole thing went up. Josh carried it. RP carried it. Toolman, Salty came by. Hero came by, Trails came by. I haven't seen that dude in forever. I appreciate it, guys. When I get big enough, I won't be able to mention y'all all by name, but now I can.